Atomic Sorcery just resubbed. It's been 11 months.
Hi. Good evening, or good afternoon, or good morning, whatever it is, wherever you are. This is Himeutsugi. I tried not to let the starting soon screen go on for too long, given that I am starting stream late, so sorry about that. Was a bit late leaving work, but here I am. Hello. Went home from work, got stuff to eat, caught up with a friend I haven't seen in a really long time. So it was a nice evening, and here we are with day 7 of the Donathon. I'm going to very quickly go over that, and then we're just going to get right to it. I'm getting better and better at this quick thing. Oh wait, hang on, where'd it go? So this is the help beat up Hime's credit card debt. I don't think that's the actual name. It's fight Hime's credit card debt. Donathon. This is day 7, so it's been a whole week. Tomorrow marks the end of the first rotation. But first, hello to everyone. Hime's stream starts as I'm baking cookies. Okay, now you are required to tell me what kind of cookies you are baking. I must know. I'm very nosy. But yes, hello to everyone. Stoat got first over on Twitch, so congrats there. Hello, Manager, Killer Flame. Hello, Cheeky. Hello, Kanito. Hello, Blue. I hope you're doing okay at work. Atomic, thank you for the resub. Hello to Ghost Prince. I hope you enjoy. Yeah, I'm really excited about this game. that's everyone that I saw on this side. Chocolate Chip, okay, a classic. It's a good one. But yeah, this is a game that I actually didn't end up backing on Kickstarter because I was like, oh man, a group game. Who am I going to play a group game with? And now I actually have friends, but you know, we're doing something else today. Anyway, so the Donathon is tomorrow. It'll hit the last stream in the first rotation before we start over again with the 8 streams. But that's the rotation that we're going on. Currently, the timer is set to 46 hours and 26 minutes, so I dare say we will complete at least one other rotation of 8 streams for this Donathon. We'll just see how it goes. Our current goal that is upcoming is basically Chat Plays 999. It is a game that I rage quit during the tutorial. Let that sink in. I am not very good at puzzle games, but yes, if we hit 3,600 points, I will play that game on stream. We're 150-ish points away from it, so we're getting there. Currently, we have unlocked the first 8 goals on my sheet here. Note that all of the numbers written, both for the goals and the incentives, are in points, not in dollars, and it's basically $1 equals 2 points, so if you need to know, like, vaguely how many dollars that goal is worth. But yeah, you can see all the stuff I have planned. I tried to put some cool stuff. Yeah. In the lower left, you have the incentives. Those are personal incentives. Myself, Killer Flame, and Kai. So Killer Flame and Kai, my 2 mods, they do a really great job updating the spreadsheet that has everyone's contributions, and so as you hit these milestones, you unlock personal incentives. If you are interested in those, please make sure you are in my Discord, because I do have like a little private topic I set for everybody, so that way you can communicate with me about what you want for some of those more like customizable rewards. But yeah, I'm really excited to get those going as well. But yeah, I do count everything, and that's partially why it's in points, is that any way that you are giving money to the stream will count. So those of you over on YouTube, YouTube membership, super chats, all of those will count as well. I do manually have to add the points and the time for those, but both myself and the mods do have like a conversion chart, so don't worry, we got that. Mod Squad got my back. Exactly. But yeah, that's my quick, couple minute rundown of what's going on with the Donathon. Been really appreciating everybody's support so far. Every 45 minutes ish, there is a 50% chance of proccing a bonus like secret quest, or not secret, surprise quest that comes up. For those surprise quests, y'all have 15 minutes to donate 50 points worth, and then I will do whatever like thing pops up. Yeah. We have been provided with the power to do maths. Yeah, the spreadsheet math is the best kind of math there is. Okay, so today is another stream of me taking a group TTRPG and turning it solo. And today I am having a look at KEDAMONO OPERA. It is a Japanese TRPG. You can tell it's Japanese because they say TRPG instead of TTRPG. And here it actually stands for, usually they say TTRPG, like table talk, but yeah, table role-playing game. And it has been translated into English by, I think, Lion Wing Publishing is what they're called. Nagabe's art is so pretty. I know, right? I really appreciate. Oh yeah, I forgot to say yes. Thank you, Killer Flame. During quests, specifically, if I get a new follow, it does count as 1 point. And that's that does count during those times. So if you've been holding out and have a friend or two that wouldn't mind following me, you should definitely... Did I misattribute the game in the pinned message? No. Lion Wing is the English language publisher, so you're good. It's fine. You're good. TRPG is superior to TTRPG, way easier to say. That is true. Oh, you got Wizard Borb. Oh my gosh, that's nice. You're really collecting the cards here. Yippee. But yeah, so similar to when I did Cottages and Cerberus for the same thing, I am going to be going through the book. So it's kind of a read through, but I will be pausing to talk about like, okay, how are we going to play this as a solo game? If I have to pause and make roll tables, I will do that. But yeah, what's the Boba card library check command? Ooh, I don't remember. It's in the Discord. Let me see. It's in the about section. Oh, it's collection. Yeah, exclamation mark collection. Yep. But yeah, if you go to the about section, it does list all the board battle commands and stuff. So that's what it is. Okay. So yeah, I'll be reading through it and then periodically pausing to talk about, okay, cool, this is how we're gonna do it solo, blah, blah, blah. And I am taking notes on the solo aspect in Obsidian, which I have open here. So if I hide the book, let me make this a bit wider, and then I have to fix this up a little. There we go. There we go. So yeah, so as I take notes, I will type it in here. Which reminds me, I have the PDF for the solo notes I took on Cottages and Cerberus, and I will be dropping that in for subscribers on my in my Discord. So that'll be there for y'all. Yeah. Oh, Betrayal Borb. Betrayal Borb wins again. Terrifying. I don't think... Kanito, you have terrible luck. You have terrible luck, my dude. Hi, Savara! Hello. 0 for 6. I know, this is not your season, man. What can I say? I'm so sorry. Unfortunate. Oh, goodness.
Hex is rating
Hi,
Lexan
Hexy!
Problems.
Oh my goodness, thanks for the raid, Hexy. So good to see you. Welcome. If you have to raid and run, I understand. Please take care of yourself. Eat, sleep, drink, whatever it is you need to do. If you want to hang out, we just started. We're gonna look at the KEDAMONO Opera rulebook and then think up some ideas on how to play it solo as we go. We are also, just FYI, we are listening to music by Witchbolt today. I thought it would be fitting for the sort of dark foresty vibes, you know. But yeah, for those that don't know me, I am Hime, the non-binary parrot VTuber. I mostly stream TTRPG related content, especially solo TTRPGs. That's my bag. I do also play cozy games, and fun fact, I was chosen as an official co-streamer for the Wholesome Direct that's in the first week of June, so I'm really excited for that because I love cozy games. But yeah, I do play cozy games and horror games if you pay me enough money. Oh, thank you for the follow. Welcome. But yeah, so we just started, so we're gonna have a look at KEDAMONO Opera. Hime has been acknowledged as maximum cozy. I have been. Oh yes. Yes. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so there's all of the breakdowns for like whatever you do, how many points it's worth, and how much time it's gonna add to the clock. So that way you can see. But yeah, thank you. The burb can be bought. I can indeed be bought. It's always mold. That was so much fun. I had such a great time yesterday. Okay, so KEDAMONO Opera. Just look at this art, you guys. Look at that. Does that not make you want to play this game? Nagabe's art. Chef's kiss. Ooh, and look at them. Look at these. Don't these creatures look so friendly? Oh yeah, y'all can see my cursor, right? This is my personalized Himeutsugi cursors, and if you see them and you're like, dang, I really wish that I could make Hime click on stuff, you can pay $5 and have your own Hime cursors. So there you go. I think if you buy these, it'll count towards the Donothon too. I'm not sure if it's automatic or not, but I will make sure it counts. But yeah, if you're like, dang, I really want Hime to click on stuff for me, there you go. Anyways, so here we are. Yippee! Oh my gosh, you've checked in 42 times. That's the meaning of life. Alrighty. You got Burborb. Yippee. That plant looks like a Last of Us clicker just rooted to the forest floor. I kinda love it. That's so cute. Hey, Hime, I could hear you, but I could not chat. Okay. Well, welcome. Hi. Good to see you. Okay. So it's KEDAMONO Opera. And in Japanese, KEDAMONO means beast, basically. So it's the Beast Opera. This is the core rulebook. I like that they summarize what's in each section too, but all of KEDAMONO Opera, I'm like torn between whether I want to say KEDAMONO Opera or KEDAMONO Opera, like all Japanese stuff. I don't know, man. KEDAMONO Opera. Oh, I got something. I got something from say. Did it not count? It didn't count. I didn't see the points go up. All right. I see buying stuff from the shop does not count for some reason. Because I didn't see the points go up. I don't know if it's just slow. I'm going to give it a second to see if it just takes a minute to update. But if not, we'll just have to add it in manually. Man. Thank you, Say. Hope you enjoy forcing me to click on stuff for you. It's because Hime hates me. No, just the widget hates you, which I cannot control, sadly. Alright, it doesn't look like it's working. Okay, it's $5, so that should be 10 points. And then, that's 15 minutes. Alright, so I added it manually. Thank you.
Pixel or PB? Pixel.
Pixel. Oh my gosh. Okay, I am changing my form. Give me a moment. Un moment. Oh my gosh, there's a lot going on. Goodness. Okay. Hang on. Oh, technically I'm not writing, I'm reading. So let me change. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to change my form. Timer 5 minutes. All right. There we go. I purchased ballads the other day. Yeah, unfortunately that one is not linked. I do actually split the profits for ballads with my friend who does the art as well. So that would be a little too complicated payout wise, and it takes so long to do payouts too. Yeah, that one unfortunately doesn't count. Anything on Ko-Fi, YouTube, or Twitch will count. Yeah, but we still appreciate it. I hope you enjoy playing ballads. Okay. All of Kedamono Opera is summarized within the basic rules. It will teach you all you need to know about this game. Should you have been invited by a friend to be a player in this game, then read through this chapter to learn the basics. When it comes time to create your Kedamono, turn then to the On Kedamono chapter. And then On the World. On the World describes the foundations upon which your Kedamono Opera stage will be set. Provided you're in no rush, it makes for a fine read. And then on Kedamono, you will need the rules found in the On Kedamono chapter to create a Kedamono of your very own. There you will also find descriptions of each Kedamono species. When it's time to create yours, be sure to refer to this chapter. Kedamono Opera is paid for in part by viewers like you. It's true. Hi, Brother Ken! That heading typeface is gorgeous. I know, right? I really like it. Okay. Then session rules. Within the session rules chapter, you'll find detailed guidelines on how to play with others. Though written for storytellers, players who wish to better understand the rules are also welcome to read. So that'll be interesting to see. Because I know that this is... Okay, I know a lot of these games say narrative first or story first. This one says that, so I'm like, okay, heck does that mean? We'll see. On game mastering, advice useful to those who take up the game master's call can be found within this chapter. Herein you will find the light to guide you on your path, O Weaver. And then scenario. A scenario prepared in advance be used during a session. If you intend to participate in Kedamono Opera as a player, have a care, please. We recommend you refrain from reading this section. Okay. And then the index. So it's about 250 pages, give or take. Basic rules. Come now and behold a thing darker than the night itself, yet more dazzling than the stars above, the world of Kedamono Opera. Here is a game, one in which you will weave together your very own fairy tales of the creatures that lurk within the dark forest, the Kedamono, beasts of a supernatural, fantastical bent. And Kedamono, you see, prey on human beings. What would happen then when a human meets with such a predator? Whatever traumatic highs and tragic lows would happen in such a story will come from within you yourself. To help you do just that, within the pages of this book you will find setting details, art, and the laws that will govern your world, that is, the rules of the game. Aside from this book, all it takes to play is some dice, something to write with, and a few other easily obtainable odds and ends. Kedamono Opera is the sort of game where, to play it, you will create not only your very own character using the rules of this book, but also create a unique story through conversation with your friends. You could say that this is a game of making stories. A mite particular, wouldn't you say? You play Kedamono Opera by making creations or doing sessions. Let's take a look at both, shall we? Okay. Creations. Kedamono Opera is a game, but this book does not contain merely the rules of that game. Written here is a vast imaginary world itself, making it a book of detailed world information and other lore. Think of it as being akin to an encyclopedia for a world of fantasy. The world described herein is designed to provide the fuel to light the fires of your imagination. After you've read through everything, you'll have all you need to dream up a Kedamono unique to you, and then spin the tales of its many adventures within this world. After all, Kedamono Opera is story writing made gamified. Or, to put it plainly, we've designed a world and put it in this book to serve as a springboard for you, dear reader, to create your own stories. Merely by reading this book, you will be equipped to do all of the following. Create a Kedamono Opera story, whether that's a novel, an illustration, a manga, a movie, or even a play report of a session you've run. Create your own Kedamono in accordance with the rules set forth. Create a scenario for use during a session of Kedamono Opera. By making these creations, which are based on Kedamono Opera, you are already playing. Should you then desire to show off that wonderful Kedamono you've made, or the story or even comic you've made, then we encourage you to take to the internet to share your creation. Look at that. You need not think of a story front to back on your own, of course. One can also create stories collaboratively through conversation with others. We're not doing that. We are alone. We are on an island, all by our lonesome. Mwahaha. Okay. Oh, time is up. Alright, hang on. Time to turn back. I have returned. Chat is merely a figment of birdie imagination. Oh my gosh, that's a little scary. Really? I don't know how I feel about that. That sprite was so cute though. I'm so glad. You have us, your schizophrenic voices in your head. Huh? I don't hear your voices in my head. I have to read everything you say. The heck? Anyway, I'm all alone. I'm playing alone. These games are meant to be played alone. Anyways. I'm gonna skip over some stuff. The GM's role, or the Oracle's role, is to pose questions. Your Kedamono, find yourself in this sort of situation. What will you do? The player or players then respond to the question on behalf of their Kedamono. At times, dice will be used to introduce randomness and change the situation unpredictably. Don't worry, I don't think your brain is warped enough to make up Kai and I. Oh my goodness. By repeating this process of question and answer and completing all rules requirements, the Kedamono will eventually find the conclusion to their story, and thus will the game end. Of course, that's well and good, but creating a story entirely from thin air is a difficult task. No, it's not. Okay. Goal of the game. This is a game that provides to you the joy of creating a story with your friends. As such, there are no winners and no losers, nor even are there any fail conditions that would result in game over. Ooh. I am a figment of my own mental illness. I see. Participating Kedamono player characters, yeah. Supplementary characters, so NPCs. Scenario. Oop. Dice. This game uses only 6-sided die. Okay, so only D6s, I see. Okay. Wow, he's got real pointy feet. Okay. Chapter 1. Basic Rules. Kedamono Opera is a game, one centering on the horrors called Kedamono Haine that dwell in the dark forest. Kedamono are ageless beasts who prey upon human souls. Their mere existence is a threat to humanity itself, and yet there are some who, seeking to sate whatever desire drives them at the time, make deals with humans and lend them their power. As such, many humans regard Kedamono with the fear usually reserved for a raging storm or wildfire. Others look to them as guardian spirits and may even hold them in worship. Regardless of their views, few humans dare to tread where Kedamono lie. Those who do often have nowhere else to turn and take their lives into their own hands by seeking the aid of one of those living fables. You, the player, will take on the role of Kedamono. You will intervene in the affairs and problems that humans bring to you and, in so doing, irrevocably alter their fate. The game is set at a time when the world is dominated by humans. Outside the Dark Forest, the state of the human world depends entirely on the story being told, but the general idea of the world is one like medieval fantasy Europe, complete with magic. In this world, you, the player, will decide not only the fate of the Kedamono you play, but the fate of the humans which you encounter. As a comparison point, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on Fogfather. It's basically a grim fairy tale reskin of the Mothership system. Oh, Father Fog. Ooh, I actually... Despite how much I'm really into Mothership and all the various Mothership things, I've actually never heard of that. I'm going to make a note of it. Or I'm just going to Google it now so I can check it out. Father. Yeah. That's cool. Thank you. Somehow I had never heard of that, so I have added that to my list to look at, and I'll have a look at it later. Thank you. It's brand new, still in 0 edition. Okay, thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. I have never heard of it. Okay, I'll have to have a look-see afterwards. It'd be fun to do a stream where I just look at all the Mothership stuff I've got a lot. Mothership month is like a real danger, a real and present danger. Ooh, non-human character and human NPCs. That's super interesting, right? That's what I thought too. Because I've played games that are the opposite. I mean, I'd argue Covens of Midnight is kind of the opposite. So I like the idea of like, no, we are the all-powerful beast. You know? We'll see. I'm curious to see how this goes. Ooh, just bear in mind one thing. This is not a game where the goal is to efficiently solve the problems presented to you, nor do you have to save the feeble humans who come to you for aid. You need not even sate the desires of the Kedamono you play. Your goal is to grant to your Kedamono its fate, to give it its comedic highs and tragic lows, and to bring about the story that you, the player, wish to see. And I love that philosophy so much. Play the game simply by creating. Create your own Kedamono novels, art, movies, or even scenarios to use during game sessions, all based on the world and setting of Kedamono Opera. Then post them online or through zines or other mediums and share the joy with other fans. Yep. Of course, you can also do sessions. It is a TTRPG. Scenario is basically adventure. Player. It is possible to be both if desired. That's what we're doing. Hey. Prelude. Yep, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna start taking notes. Intro. Alright, so I'm gonna take a couple of notes based off of this for now, and then I'll adapt them to solo as we go. But ignoring the decide who GMs, because obviously it's me. So the intro scenario, like a trailer. Choose Kedamono. Mark intro portents. Set initiative doesn't seem very important. Define the pack. There's no pack rules, so we'll just ignore that. Unless you're creating a party. Okay. So this part might be randomized. Choose Kedamono character creation. I don't know what this means, so we'll figure that out when we get there, and then of course define the pack, and there's pack rules, and we'll worry about that if it comes to it. Okay. So that seems to be like the basic like how to start the game, and then in the actual gameplay. Right, so I'll call this like setup. And then this is like gameplay loop. So that's important. Who is GMing Hime or Utsugi, right? Oh my gosh. I feel like y'all wouldn't like Utsugi. Is that Doomer Hime? Is Doomer Hime the Utsugi? Akari-san calls me Utchan, and then Jose calls me Sugi, so very few people actually use that half of my name, interestingly. Okay. But we love Doomer Hime. Okay, then you love Utsugi. Okay, hee. Okay. Blah 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 blah. Play the story ordeals. Plot. Ordeal. Feats, it looks like. It does say one cannot fail at an ordeal. Something might end up going wrong, but ultimately the Kedamono will prevail over the hardship before them. So it seems like at worst you could have a yes, but. Which is interesting. Makes it more interesting that way. Fulfill portents. Some interlude where you check in, and then conclusion. Alright, that's basically it. Okay, so this seems like the basic setup and gameplay loop. I've slightly adjusted it already based on what I think will work for solo, but a lot of these things I just don't know what the heck they are yet. So we'll learn as we go. Alright, so we're gonna go back to the book now. At least that gives us an idea. Okay. Your character is an ageless Kedamono. Kedamono dwell within the dark forest and appear to be to the eye as though a giant monster, usually 10 to 30 feet tall. Many of them look similar to animals. They also feed on human souls. However, feed in this case can take on many forms. Some Kedamono consume body along with soul. Others force the human to worship them and in so doing claim their soul after death. Still others may absorb it through drinking the human's blood and on and on. The exact method of this soul eating is entirely up to you. I love this art. It freaks me out. To those who believe human-like appendage is a lure. Oh, I see. So here's the Kedamono, and then here's like the lure part. Human-like appendage, the lure. Those who believe a lure is a real human cannot perceive the Kedamono's main body. People who might doubt that a lure is a real human will be able to see the main body upon witnessing any feat or opera. Oh, that's cool. So I guess these are just the types. Even when a lure is inside the Kedamono's body, it can still be used like a speaker, allowing the main body to converse. Interesting. Huh. This is real cool. All Kedamono possess a human-shaped appendage called their lure. Oh, okay, that's not a type of Kedamono. That's just a thing that we have. I see. Well, they all have it, okay. All Kedamono possess a human-shaped appendage called their lure. Lures are just like an arm or leg to the Kedamono and can be made to appear as though alive. Anyone or anything who is convinced the lure is a real human cannot at all see the Kedamono's true form. As a lure is part of their bodies, Kedamono can move their main body as well as their lures at the same time. Lures, however, possess only the same capabilities as a normal human, and when the main body performs feats, or their opera, or anything else out of the ordinary, the spell is broken and their true forms are revealed. How your Kedamono views humans is up to you. They could simply be prey, fit only to fill your belly, or perhaps they are something you wish to protect. Perhaps you see them as foolish and feeble, or perhaps you view their culture and the things they create with interest. Thank you for the head pads. In a session, you may find your Kedamono being asked to hear a human's wish. Why it would do such a thing is deserving of some thought, and you should feel free to decide whatever makes sense. Hi, 64. Thanks for checking in. The Dark Forest is a strange land where Kedamono dwell. Filled with mana, equally strange incidents occur there. Its borders connect to all forests throughout the world. The Lord of Light, the one god, or the being said to be such, worshipped throughout the world. The devout will refer to him as the Lord. It is said he created humans and gave them the souls that Kedamono lack. Oh, hi, Iktra! The touched. Humans and animals who have the blood of a Kedamono and have inherited part of their power. In times past, they were revered as mythical heroes. Today, many instead face hatred and scorn. Yikes. Hi, Mr. Shelf. Making a Kedamono. Determine the qualities. Record on your Kedamono sheet. We're going to go through the different species. And then each Kedamono species comes with 5 feats. Each feat has portents belonging to it. Write these on your Kedamono sheet. Okay, authority. Choose one of the 4 to start playing with. During play, gain an extra authority whenever you triumph with a roll of 20 or higher. Okay, violence, cunning, benevolence, or sagacity. Okay, so yeah, so strength, precision, so it's sort of like dex, I guess, connection or the power to heal, and then cleverness or amassed knowledge, I see. Cool. Desire. Why help a human? Choose one from the desire table or make your own. You may have multiple desires. And then lure form. Choose from your species lure form table or design one of your own. That's great. Kedamono name. What do they call you? Decide a name. Use your species name as is. Get help from the naming scheme. I don't know why I said that. Naming scheme table. Choose one from your species name table or design one of your own. Dwelling. Your place to slumber. Choose one from the dwellings table or design one of your own. This sounds really cool. It does, right? Opera. Make miracles happen. Each Kedamono species has their own opera. Make sure to write the opera portent on your Kedamono sheet. When you do it, you mark the portent, which can bring about a miracle. The player decides how it changes the story, though it has no mechanical effects, such as with ordeals or making checks. If you ever reach 5 or more agonies after using your opera, its portent is cleared and its effect is lost. Interesting. Using your opera may be used once during the session when the below 2 conditions are met. The story development described in the opera's condition is met, and you have 4 or less agonies. Hi, Viper! Legends, stories of the past. Gain 1 legend, either designing one or choosing from the legend table. You can gain another one for each creative work produced about the Kedamono. Oh, I love that. So every time you create stuff, you get more legends, because you're spreading its legend. Gain another one each time the Kedamono sees a curtain call, so the more you play with the character or like produce creative works about the character, the more legend it has. That's really cool. Each legend may be used once per session. Okay. So here's a sample ordeal where you're supposed to drive off the pursuers. So it is about violence and cunning. The difficulty increases the more players there are, of course. So the twist portents. You ended up eating Maria. You took an arrow, injuring you. Maria dropped her father's keepsake. Interesting. Sample Kedamono, a majestic dragon who dwells in the ruins of a palace within the dark forest. Having a love of fair maidens, he will offer his help for the price of their soul. Their soul then becomes one of the many jewels adorning his body. He enjoys gazing upon his collection, savoring each in turn. The Jeweled Princess's Dream. There was once a princess, raised with great affection and care, yet of the world beyond that which she saw from her window, she could only dream. Then came the evening of a ball, where she met a young nobleman from a country afar. Filling her head with his sweet whispers, the man claimed his country possessed magic that could grant any wish. The princess wished for but one thing, to witness the wide world and travel to its very corner. To this very day does the princess accompany that dragon prince on his journeys, a jewel most beautiful. Oh, I love that. That's so cool. Oh, hi, Ender! Welcome. So then, this is like a sample character. So they created Noram of the Waking Dream. They're a dragon. They're cunning. Contracted, aesthetes, beauty, golden-eyed nobleman is their lore. Their dwelling is the palace of a ruined kingdom. Their legend, the great calamity, the jeweled princess's dream. Oh, this is the legend. I see. That's so cool. And then the various opera and feats. That's neat. Okay. Cool. Ordeals are a mechanical check to describe how the players overcome a hardship. Make a check. Check generates either a triumph or a twist. You keep a running total until there's an ending condition. Okay. So this I might need to write down. Yeah, I'm glad you were able to make it, Ender. Good to see you. So you basically have checks. The check will either be a triumph or a twist, and then the ending condition must be met. This probably will have to be adapted for solo, because if there's only one person rolling, it's going to be harder to hit those particular triumph and check numbers, you know? That makes sense. Okay. When total triumphs equal the difficulty. Alright, so this is what it says in the book. When triumph equals difficulty, then it's the path of glory. When twists equal the difficulty, it's agony. Okay, I see. Okay. With 5 or more agonies, a KEDAMONO cannot use its opera. Yikes, okay. So how to make a check. Important. You may choose to use or not use one feat. However, that feat must either be useful for the situation at hand or somehow enhance the story. When you use a feat, add 1 to 3 dice to the roll alongside the base roll according to that feat's rank. Then mark 1 feat portent from the feat used. Tick the feat's use box to make it unavailable, then choose and mark 1 feat portent belonging to that feat. When an authority you possess matches a domain listed for the ordeal, then you may decide to reroll all dice you have rolled up to this point. If you do reroll, it must be all of the dice. After rerolling once, the result cannot be changed further. So it's not the same as pressing your luck. You just get a reroll. That's interesting. If the check is 10 or higher and no twist is declared, triumph. If it's 20 or higher, choose one, gain one. Check result is 10 or higher and no twist is desired. And triumph. The result is 20 or higher, then choose one, gain one new authority of your choice. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, if you get 9 or less, it's a twist. Interesting, okay. You may also clear 1 portent you have marked belonging to that feat. The die you choose is 6 to gain the blessing of your 6th sense. Interesting. Yeah, it must be you. Because it's not gonna, you know, there's not gonna be another player if you're playing solo. Okay. A portent is a plot development that must, without fail, come true within the story. Each portent is written as a simple sentence. KEDAMONO will, throughout the story, mark a variety of portents. However, in terms of narrative, neither the KEDAMONO with the portent nor any other person in the story is aware that the portent exists. Ah. Okay, so you know, but the character doesn't know. So it's like the fate. The fate of your character. It almost feels like playing a board game. It has to happen, you just don't know. Its player must make that happen. To make the event described by a portent happen, the player is encouraged to invent any surrounding context they need. This may even include going beyond what that player's own KEDAMONO could do, taking authorship over the story itself. You can fulfill portents at any time. They may also be fulfilled in the form of a flashback or as an epilogue detailing the future. Interesting. Okay. Okay, they must happen. That's important. Okay. Portents of death. Yeah. If during play a marked portent is cleared, then you no longer need to fulfill it and make it real in the story. If the portent is already fulfilled, however, then you are free to pretend the event never actually happened if you so desire. Okay. Opera portents are special. Let me put the book back up now. The portent you gain by using your opera is itself a supernatural occurrence. Though opera portents are written somewhat vaguely, this is to allow players to decide how they come about in the story with complete freedom. Opera portents are indeed so powerful that they can change the story itself, such that other portents might be cleared simply due to having no chance of being fulfilled in the current story. Oh wow. Note, however, that when a kedamono has 5 or more agonies, their opera portent is immediately cleared, and whatever they caused to occur is then ruined in some fashion. Once all portents are fulfilled, then the ending for the kedamono has been told, the story ends. Something to know. Yep. Cool. So, yeah. Almost board gamey, it's neat. Okay. If the intro contains portents, then players mark those portents as the intro instructs. These should be the only portents that kedamono have at the start of a story. So, for example, you protected Maria from danger. Maria and her mother were reunited alive and well. I believe I'll mark the second. I suppose I'll need to bring Maria to see her mother then, won't I? Have each... Intro portents can be cleared via Sixth Sense or Legends. However, intro portents are very important and can help guide you on what to do within the story. When you would clear them, be sure to speak with the GM. Okay. When using your opera or feats, choose and mark one of the portents listed. Each feat has 2 portents belonging to it. Choose either the top or bottom as you like. So, for example, here's a opera... Draconic Becoming. Those consumed by a dragon have their wishes come true. You've consumed prey with a strong wish and made their soul a part of you. Our discussion earlier led me to a certain store page. I may now own a bunch of mothership stuff and father fucking physical. Oh no. Oh no. I think we need to play Mothership soon. I hope that's the game. What if I just DM Father Fog for you, huh? That'd be cool. Then I guess I would also need Father Fog. Okay. So I guess you would have to mark one of these. You dreamed, and in that dream saw the wish of the prey you consumed. When you awoke, the wish had become reality. Interesting. E. Each feat has 2 portents. Oh yeah, here's the opera portent. I see. Dang, it had that much of an effect on you. Nice. Opera have 1 and sometimes 2 portents belonging to them. When 2 are listed, you still choose to mark only 1. Okay. When a twist happens, when you roll a check for an ordeal and generate a twist, you choose one of the ordeal's twist portents and mark it. I see. When breaking a taboo, the NPCs that the GM plays may have certain taboos. When a kedamono breaks these taboos in front of that NPC, then that kedamono gains a taboo portent. What a crazy coincidence again. OMG, I'm literally planning to host a one-shot of Mothership tomorrow, writing down my notes right now. That's funny. Look at that. Standard taboo, slaughter of the innocent. Yeah, the taboo holder grew fearful and fled from you. That makes sense. So if they are afraid of people slaughtering the innocent and you do that in front of them, they're gonna leave. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't really want to read this example. It's fine. Oh, look at that cat, the Sphinx. Neat. Okay, on the world. Oh, look at that. Kedamono is the general term we apply to the monstrous creatures which can understand human language and wield supernatural power, though we maintain a kind of categorization as to which species they belong. This is fundamentally different from the biological and phylogenetic concept of species. Some Kedamono are mammalian, some are avian, some are reptilian. Indeed, we would venture to say that Kedamono sit astride the plant, animal, and fungal kingdoms entirely. One theory posits that because Kedamono are creatures born in the primordial age before the way of this world was settled, concepts such as evolution simply do not apply. Still, many Kedamono bear characteristics resembling those of other everyday organisms. Would that those characteristics afforded any ease to the scholar who attempts to determine a Kedamono's categorical placement. The only certainty is that there will be contradictions. Indeed, it is no rare thing to see a Kedamono who mixes the features of multiple creatures, a chimera of sorts. If there do still exist purely primordial Kedamono, then few, if any, remain within the human realm, though there are always claims that some few do still survive within the Dark Forest. The ecology of Kedamono is as varied as they themselves. However, a precious few traits seem to be shared among them all, and this work shall establish them here. 1. Kedamono are behemoths. We mentioned that the physical appearance of a Kedamono varies from one to the next. However, what is shared is their size, as each is bigger than a fully grown man at the least. By at the least, it's meant that there appears to be no limit to the size a Kedamono can reach, with some having grown to unreal proportions. Those Kedamono with a certain degree of power— oh, I just realized I meant to be reading my book, haha. With a certain degree of power can even change their size as they desire, though they appear to stay within a range of large to a human. A broad analysis of eyewitness accounts places their most common band of being 10 to 30 feet tall. Moreover, even among Kedamono of the same species, there are cases where their physiology varies. For example, the number of eyes or limbs diverge from one Kedamono to the next. There are even cases where a Kedamono will possess horns or wings that its species does not commonly possess. This has led to some scholars defining the baseline of Kedamono physical characteristics with 3 typologies: excesses, abundances, and misplacements. Let's see. Oh, hi, Izzy! Good to see you. Hi. Hello. Kedamono have no lifespan. They have no span. They possess vitality that defies all human comprehension. They're not invulnerable. Moreover, there have been accounts in the past that say when a Kedamono exhausts its power, it declines into a smaller, weaker creature, indeed like a normal animal. Kedamono prey on humans, specifically the souls. We've talked about that. This is wholly unlike how animals may prey on other animals. Some Kedamono do exhibit a desire to consume human flesh, but even in those cases, the true desire is for the soul. Blue said, so you're saying we can have Kedamold? No. Oh my gosh. I mean, wouldn't be very animal-like. I guess technically. Kedamono possess what we call a false soul. For as long as they live, they will feel this false soul wearing on them like waves on stone. In contrast, human souls are pure and remain unspoiled even after death. This fact gives Kedamono a kind of thirst, one which drives them to take the souls of people into their possession. It's always mold. We are all mold, right? Even when a Kedamono does not consume the flesh of a person, they by some means consume the soul therein. An oft-seen method is to take a person's soul prior to its entrance to the afterlife. Kedamono, adopting this method, bid humans to worship them as gods, and in so doing, can steal the souls of those faithful upon their death. There are other examples, such as Kedamono stealing the soul via blood drinking, or Kedamono who gaze upon their collection of souls to derive satisfaction, and more. Viewing the soul consumption as analogous to how a human takes meals, one might be confused. Make no mistake, however, to Kedamono, souls are not nutrition. They do not need them for energy to move their bodies. A Kedamono could theoretically go without consuming souls at all, but the instinctual desire for them is excruciating, and there are only so many ways to satisfy it. Should a Kedamono not satisfy this hunger, their minds will grow disordered, and in time they will lose all reason. How often a Kedamono must feed on souls varies from one to the next. They choose to consume those which meet some criteria specific to themselves. Regardless of what method the Kedamono uses to achieve it, the extraction of a human soul necessitates in all cases the damaging of the soul's vessel, that is, the body. Thus are Kedamono humanity's natural predator. We've already read about the lore. There's a couple of fundamental traits. Lures cannot be easily distinguished from a real human being. It will move exactly as the Kedamono wills. Lures can make all movements that a typical human being is capable of. They possess all 5 of the natural senses, and they are capable of speech as well. The majority of Kedamono can even taste food through the meals that their lures ingest. Conversely, a Kedamono's lure possesses only the same physical capabilities as a typical human can use. Yeah, okay. Most lures are physically connected, but the connection tissue can stretch dozens or even hundreds of feet, which is how lures can enter buildings. You begin to see how Kedamono can skillfully draw humans in, thereby putting their souls up to be consumed by the main body. So we can have a lure dance party. Oh my god, I guess technically. So long as humans and even animals are fooled by the lure, they cannot at all perceive the tail or tentacle or other connective tissue extending from the lure, nor would they notice it if the Kedamono's monstrous form itself lurked right behind its lure. The invisibility comes from the magic that reads all Kedamono. However, that magic does not extend to erasing external signs. Should a human be in conversation with a lure and then the main body knocks over a tree, the human will be aware that some great force has not knocked the tree over. Notably, a Kedamono cannot make its main body invisible unless it intentionally using its lure to distract attention from it. Human who unexpectedly walks in on a sleeping Kedamono will see for themselves the Kedamono connected to the lure. The specific knowledge of Kedamono possessing lures is known only to storytellers and scholars who study the ecology of Kedamono. Fortunately, one hardly needs to study to know of this danger. After all, Kedamono changing into humans is a common theme in folk tales across all lands. One merely needs a suspicion that this person may not be a person, and then upon the instant that a Kedamono wields their supernatural powers, one will all at once be able to see the main body lurking behind the lure. We can imagine such a person crying out in shock, "How could I not have seen that before?" And to be sure, this invisibility has no effect against other Kedamono. All Kedamono can discern lure from human easily. There are also accounts that those who bear the blood of Kedamono, the touched as they are known, can at least some of the time detect the smell of a Kedamono on a lure. Kedamono understand language. Oh goodness.
Izzy gifted 5 subs.
Thank you so much for the gift subs, Izzy. That's so sweet. I am Lore King. That's amazing. Hi, Xenon. Yay, thank you. That's so sweet. Wow. Look at all the people who are here. Hello, hello. Thanks for the gift subs. Hope you get some good fish. Wow, we are getting closer and closer to the goal. Yippee! That's exciting. Does that put Izzy in another tier for incentives? Magikarp! You got Magikarp! Yay! Yay! I don't know if that puts you in another incentive tier or not, but I'm still excited. Thank you so much. Anyway, Kedamono can more or less understand the words of any intelligent life, even if they do not know the language. This is due to Kedamono understanding the breadth of meaning contained in any notation system. Most Kedamono have a form similar to animals and as such cannot make the same vocalized sounds that humans can. Through their lures, however, Kedamono can speak any language known to humans. This may sound a bit old-fashioned in their mannerisms, yet by incorporating the breadth of meaning into their words, their intentions are conveyed clearly. Moreover, by listening to humans of the current day, they will in no time at all pick up how to sound like a modern human. Not a new tier quite yet. Okay, almost, hopefully. Okay. Yeah, and we saw this on the lure part, that even if the lure is like in your body, you can still speak using it. That's neat. Kedamono abide contracts. There are those Kedamono who, upon seeing a human who fits their preferences, will immediately eat them, violently, without a shred of mercy nor hesitation. However, there too exist reasonable Kedamono who will offer their aid on a contractual basis with humans. In most every case, a Kedamono will seek the human soul or perhaps worship as its price. Kedamono hold contracts in legitimate equal exchange in high respect. This is because deceptive behavior will ultimately harm their false souls. Forcibly ripping souls from humans harms them, and as does lying, and so too does cheating someone of their soul. Interesting. By far the worst and most damaging action, however, is to renege on any contract they've entered into. Should they uphold the contract, take the soul as a just trade, however, then the Kedamono will receive no such punishment. Therefore, to Kedamono with their incomplete souls, there is simply far more profit in forming contracts with weak humans and earning their reward than through forcefully claiming what they want. Interesting. You'd be interested to know that this wounding of the soul via deceptive behavior is of concern to humans as well. This is why many Kedamono favor the souls of innocent maidens and of devout worshippers. They simply glow brighter without a single blemish. Of course, there are those Kedamono who prefer to eat scarred souls, just as there are Kedamono who lie and Kedamono who will engage in gluttony without a care for how much it wounds their soul. As is a running theme of this work, Kedamono are varied. But yeah. Most important is this: there are a large number of Kedamono who will carry out their contract not in accordance with the spirit of it, but rather will, quite intentionally, misinterpret the words put forth. So long as the Kedamono adhere to the letter of the contract, not so much its spirit, they will avoid punishment. That is very Fae-like. All right, I'm gonna go sleep. Have a good stream. Okay, Ender, thanks for stopping by. Have a good sleep. Yeah, this is very Fae-like to me with the whole, like, make a contract and, I mean, you said this, I'm gonna interpret it that way. Ideally, contracts with Kedamono are made via spells crafted by wary and watchful sorcerers, but how often does one, so pressed that they must seek out a Kedamono's power, stop to consider the ramifications? Too often, those people cry, "It wasn't supposed to be like this," and perish, cursing the thoughtlessness that made them believe a Kedamono would help them. So it has been, and so it shall be. Oh, I love that. Sorry, I was taking some water. Night, well, technically morning for me, it's like 9:30. Oh my gosh, your sleep schedule. I see you're in the Kai-word school of sleep schedule. That's not good. That's scowy. Okay. Continuing on. Kedamono bring disaster. Yeah, well, that makes sense. Tragic fate, etc., etc. Humans fascinate them. Also true, makes sense. Taking strays over here. I mean, you are taking strays. That's kind of your whole community are strays, aren't you? Stray City, so you gotta take them. Your town is literally called Stray City, so you kind of have to, right? Let's see. Despite the tragedy that occurs, there are many examples in history of bonds being forged between human and Kedamono. Perhaps this too is a kind of fate. Kedamono are fascinated by humans, perhaps only for their souls, or perhaps some aspect of how they live appeals. It matters not. No Kedamono is born with indifference toward humans in their hearts. Those who feign otherwise are merely that, pretending. What is this reading from? Curious. It is Kedamono Opera. If you look in the pinned message, there is a link to the game on DriveThruRPG, so you can have a look-see. Okay. According to the words of the longest-lived Kedamono themselves, Kedamono are non-creations, a life form whose origins do not lie with the Lord of Light. Which we already talked about this. They say that once, when the laws of the universe were yet to be settled, the dark forest covered the entirety of this world. The creatures of that time had no classification, no modes of reproduction as we would understand them today, and instead were things undefinable as though living dreams. This is very Princess Mononoke-like. I gotta say, entities with behaviors that are just in their nature are always such an interesting detail. It changes the question from why are they doing this to what do we do about it, forcing those subjected to that behavior to address it proactively instead of just questioning it. I know, right? It's fun. And what I think is interesting is that we get to play that creature and not the human talking to them. You know, it's very interesting. Then it is supposed the Lord of Light came from parts unknown and birthed unto this world his creations, not just humans, but all the flora and fauna we know today. At first, the relationship between the Lord of Light and Kedamono was harmonious. The forms of the Kedamono served as templates for the Lord's creations, as if to ensure each species was so created would suit the land. Before long, even the weakest of the Kedamono's offspring were drawn into the framework of life that the Lord ordained. The creations are much weaker than any Kedamono, of course. Save for one thing, they have souls. All of the Lord's creations bear the Lord's breath, a true soul. But yeah. The Kedamono watched all this happen intently. It's believed that even then they coveted the souls of humans. At one point, they even attempted to create souls of their own. Yet as mere imitations, those souls could not at all compare to the permanence of those souls created by the Lord. So instead, the Kedamono created lures to lead humans astray and try to take those perfect souls for their own. Some even styled themselves as God and laid claim to human and beast alike, then used their influence to demand repeated sacrifices. Yep. With such abuses towards his creations, the Lord of Light grew angry. He raised up an army in response, and thus did war ensue between the Lord's forces and the Kedamono. Though each battle was vicious, in the end the Lord of Light stood victorious. He then decreed that Middle Eden, a paradise at the heart of the world, would serve as the Kedamono's territory and shut them inside. That land today, of course, being known only as the Dark Forest. Yet the Dark Forest is no prison surrounded in iron bars. As such, to keep the Kedamono from exerting power restrained over his creations, and to keep his children, weak as they were, from falling into the Kedamono's temptations, the Lord of Light created his angels, the Woe Speakers, and bade them to watch over his creations. No creature of this world can see a Woe Speaker nor touch them, yet always do the Woe Speakers stand watch over the Kedamono. Whenever humans and Kedamono interact, so too will a Woe Speaker speak its portent of woe. That's where the portents come from. Thus did human and Kedamono grow apart until the current day, where the two scarcely interact at all. The original Kedamono are unfathomably old, possessing eternal ageless life. By no means are all Kedamono alive today ones who have existed for such a long time, but there's no clear understanding as to how new Kedamono are born. Most Kedamono bear no physical sex at all. Even if they profess to gender, that gender has no bearing whatsoever on their specific role in reproduction. Not only can two Kedamono, even of different species, reproduce, but children can also be born of the union of a human with a Kedamono. Interesting. The touched. The children of Kedamono and humans, or animals, or the descendants of those can manifest the physical traits of their ancestor Kedamono, as well as its supernatural power. When such a human or animal awakens to the power of a Kedamono, they are said to be one of the touched. In fables of old, we often hear of those who, born to a human and a Kedamono, wield their supernatural power in order to become heroes. They are said to have received the blessing of the Kedamono and, in civilizations past, were celebrated indeed. But there are some touched who not only inherit the power, but also their incomplete souls. In such a case, the touched is afflicted with the impulse to eat humans. Indeed, even those in the stories, despite being lauded as heroes, will be accompanied by tales of taking the souls of their enemies, and that too comes from this violent instinct. The more stable a society, the less it can tolerate power or behaviors that deviate from human norms. Dang, that is it's a little too real. Lands where they consider Kedamono as traitors to the Lord of Light and view them as demons are, of course, even less tolerant. In most eras and in most places, the touched faced oppression, treated as undesirables. Sometimes the Kedamono just appear somewhere. Sometimes a touched will just experience further atavism and become a full Kedamono, or something with no soul or a weak soul will acquire a false soul and become a Kedamono. Or the soul of a human can become incomplete and then turns into a Kedamono. They will form a lure, seek out human souls, etc., etc. Salvation. The Lord of Light was not without his mercy. Though the Kedamono sought to prey on humans, it was only because their hollow flesh craved the warmth of a soul. And so, it is said, he laid out a path to salvation, where a Kedamono could earn a pure soul, the same as any human. Of course, this is no more than legend, but still, at times, rumor of a Kedamono having attained a true soul will swell forth. And then there's like a mix in how they view the Lord of Light. Any Kedamono who's old enough to have actually met the Lord of Light did so ages and ages ago, and as such have by and large forgotten all about it. Certain heretical traditions will point to the Lord of Light sending down his Child of Light to offer salvation to the people as being rather similar to the lures. That's interesting. So there's some that think that the Lord is also just another Kedamono. Okay, hi Nemu! Thanks for the check-in. Hope you're doing well. Okay, the Dark Forest. That's where they are stuck. Hi! Yeah, so the whole forest is where they're kind of stuck. The entrance It's difficult to define where the forest itself exists in a physical sense. Despite that, entrances to the dark forest can be found throughout the world. We call these portals between the dark forest and the world outside corridors. Corridors are in most cases found in ordinary forests, as they said earlier that the dark forest is technically connected to all the forests of the world. Doing good, hope you're doing okay. Yeah, I'm doing well. Reading through this book, it's so beautiful that I'm very tempted to read through the whole book, but I know if I do that, I'm going to lose my voice and I'm not going to be able to sing anything tomorrow, so I should probably maybe not do that. However, the thresholds of these corridors are not magic. They're a kind of natural phenomenon caused by physical laws. Okay, interesting. Sprites. Oh, look at them! Oh, look at them! Look at them! Oh, they remind me of Say. Look at that. Look out over the landscapes of the dark forest, and all around you will see the flitting forms of sprites. Creatures of whimsy. They cannot speak. There will be no hope of you understanding one or they you. Oh, that's fun. Not even Kedamono understand what sprites are exactly, but they are in service to the world itself. Within the dark forest, there are mechanisms which govern the working of that world. The sprites are just one cog of that machine. Interesting. They're so cute. They are shrouded in mystery. They are what comes of what remains whenever a human or an animal loses its soul through means other than death. Oh. Human souls are said to be drawn to the presence of the Lord of Light. Then it is said that they either pass on to heaven or else return to the world and are reborn. None of these claims are verifiable, but when a creature has its supposedly eternal soul consumed by a Kedamono, the situation is very real. Unable to find the Lord's presence, they become creatures of thought, lacking a soul that is sprites. Ooh. Sprites who perform acts of kindness will eventually mature into a fairy and reclaim both their human forms and personalities. Thereupon, they will retire to the Template Kingdom at the heart of the Dark Forest. Shadow Sea. It's a lot of world-building stuff that I would love to read, but I feel like that's not really the point of this stream, so I might gloss over it and say, hey, you gotta get this book. You gotta get this book. Oh, look at that. So this is the Dark Forest, the Dreamcatch Shore, Outer Run, looks like a big river. The Template Kingdom is in the middle, the Walpurgis Mountain, the depths, the fringes. That's cool. Ouroboros River. Oh yeah, so that's this thing here in the middle. I love the hands holding the edges of the map, right? It's so cool. Oh, the aesthetic of this whole book makes me so happy. Pristine. The waters of this river can cleanse souls. By drinking or bathing within it, one can obtain a healthy soul. Interesting. When those of sufficient intellect habitually imbibe this water, what is washed away is but the memories of whatever past weighs upon their mind. The Kedamono drink from these waters so they forget the burden of their memories. Oh, that's interesting. Primal fog. Fringes, where visitors from the outside world will find themselves upon arrival. Yeah, okay. People from the outside world can quite easily travel to the fringes if only they know a road. As such, people have raised buildings or even whole settlements there. Particularly common sight are the shrines of Kedamono, where one or more are worshipped as guardians. People come to these shrines bearing offerings or sacrifices, pleading for everlasting protection. Furthest sea, the fringes of the Dark Forest connect to regions worldwide. Yet, were we to say that includes the world of the afterlife, ooh. The Dark Forest is equidistant to both this world and the next, but there's no crossings between the Dark Forest and the next world, with exceptions. It's the ocean. Though at times one can witness what look like ships sailing about the horizon, they make no attempt to land in the world of the living. As such, those who live in the Dark Forest have little clue as to what the next world is like. Mayhaps it is the land where the souls of the dead can find eternal repose, or mayhaps it is but a rest stop, a moment's pause before rebirth, the eternal question. Some also claim that beyond even the furthest sea is not just the world of the afterlife, but any number of new lands as well. That would seem to imply that the Dark Forest stretches to places quite distant, places with their own moons and their own stars. It's pretty. Oh, I love the world building. This is so cool. The depths. Not very hospitable. Artifacts and chantries, Walpurgis Mountain, the Template Kingdom. The place where the Lord of Light created the world. Within, the templates used to create the first humans and all the other creatures of the world yet remain. Many adventurers seek to find these templates and set off on a journey to this very island, yet not one has ever returned. A great deal of sprites live in the kingdom and are said to work even now to keep the world in operation. So numerous and active are they that one can see them even from the banks of the inner run opposite to the island. Interesting. Template Kingdom, that's cool. Templates with which they created the rest of the world. That is so neat. That is such a cool idea. Hi, Winter. Okay. World outside of the forest is vast, and the main stars of the KEDAMONO opera, the KEDAMONO, are ageless. Which is to say that this game cannot possibly have a clearly defined specific time and place for its setting. In this way, you can set your game to be any era at all in which humans are known to have existed. The most basic idea for KEDAMONO opera is a medieval fantasy set in Middle Ages Europe. But if that does not float your boat, you can do whatever else. Neat. Chase from your mind any notion of needing consistency between the eras of the stories you tell. The times and places that KEDAMONO opera can be found are far too broad for such constraints. Tell a story of the last few robots who found their way into the dark forest after humanity's extinction, and then, right after, tell the story of Alexander the Great meeting KEDAMONO on his march east. Perhaps time rewound itself, or perhaps in this world time continued to flow apace. That's fun. You may decide as you like whether the existence of magic and KEDAMONO are broadly known or whether those and things like them are secret still. Did Moses in fact part the sea? How much did Paracelsus truly know of magics? Perhaps during the Renaissance, knowledge of KEDAMONO is discovered, recorded in ancient scrolls. The story is yours. Do with it as you would. That's fun. Look at that. Look at the lore. All the rest. Faith. Things impossible in the modern era may well exist in the many eras and locations of KEDAMONO opera. Faith. Elves and the dwarves. Monsters that are not KEDAMONO nor human. The word is used to refer to all fae kind as well as any other magic creature. Living creature wholly apart from the ordinary classification of living things. Look at that. So, oh, look at that beautiful elf. Look at that. Frog. Person. Oh, that's fun. Types of monsters. Undead. Goblins. Dragonettes. Creatures with the blood of dragons, but none of their intellect. Interesting. Wraiths. Humanoid creatures with intelligence that come from the shadow sea. Living shadows in appearance. Magic. Mana is the source of energy for both magic and for souls. Time itself is the wellspring of mana. All things trend towards the massive gravitational point at time's end, winding down the space-time coordinate system. Mana's conversion depends on a subjectivity observing time. Therefore, living organic things contain within them more mana than inorganic or dead things, and this in turn has prompted research into items with consciousness, which produce mana, done by implanting intellect into organic objects. Wow, this goes into a lot more science-y stuff than I expected. Holy. Remnants of the Great Bornean Empire. So I guess this is just like an idea. A Borean Empire. Forgotten cornerstone of human history, it was a great nation that unified the world. After its demise, rulers all over the world would claim themselves to be the successor of the Borean Empire before long. There's a quest. There's a 15-minute quest. If you donate 50 points worth in the next 15 minutes, I will raise the epic/legendary fish rate in the fishing game up for 15 minutes, and you can get more epics and legendaries. Well, 15 minutes. That'd be fun. I might even give away some free fish to everybody who's, like, messages in the chat. That might be fun. Yeah, so I'll rate up and then I'll give everybody at least 2 free fish. No puns required. if we meet the goal. So it actually did show up on the screen, so y'all can see that. Yep. Should you find yourself, when building your own future nation, wondering what in the world to call it, consider taking one of these names. Or a Chowcum, or a Chowcum? I don't know. What kind of fish? I don't know. It will be random. It's a gacha. It's a fish gacha, you know? I don't know what you're gonna get. The rate will just go up. Well, once upon a time, it was considered to be another form of brass. It's a supreme metal. On Kedamono. Alright, so we got past the world building section. The Papuan dwarf kingfisher is gonna give out fish? Orichalcum. I think you were right. I was right the first time. I see. Yeah, it looks like Orichalcum. Okay. Yes, I will give everyone free fish if we meet the goal. So y'all have to donate 50 points, which is approximately $25 worth. Of course, during this time, if you follow, a follow on Twitch will also count as a point. Why is the ch and the k pronounced the same? Because English is weird. Because English is weird, man. Vietnamese is very consistent. All the vowels and consonants are pronounced the same all the time. None of this nonsense. Because English is like a chimera of multiple languages, and then they can't seem to make up their mind. Easiest thing to do is make a kedamono. If you feel you want to delve deeper into your kedamono's tale, you could write a story for them, even draw a comic. You know what? I think I'll just make one. Might be fun. The true kedamono English. Using the word chimera when talking about this issue is hilarious. It's true, though. Am I wrong? Huh? Am I wrong? Sir? Okay. I think there's a PDF. Let me get the PDF. Or, well, I mean, I know there's a PDF. Where is it at? The question is not, is there? The question is, do I have it on my computer? I think I do. You're not, but Chimera is literally an example of it. Yeah. No stuff. I don't know if this is form fillable. It is. Name the Chimera that... Well, what's this? There's name here, but then there's something here that I'm supposed to fill in. Legends. Portents. Arachne. Dread hair. Are these pre-mades? Oh, no, these are the type. Oh, right. These are the species. The top one is like a species if I just make up the species. I see. So there's like a whole bunch of them. Yeah, I didn't see the credits in the main book, so here's the credits. Verb is wrong. There's one simple rule that makes English make perfect sense. It goes like this. If you think you know how something works, you're wrong. Is this B-stars? Maybe? Not exactly. Okay. Neat. God, I love the aesthetic so much. Look at this stuff. Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? But I want more TTRPGs. Alright. Nagabe has done some furry manga. Yeah, you can definitely tell. Okay, maybe we won't make one right now. Because that's not... Gotta focus. That's not... We're not playing. We're just coming up with a rule. You okay? I mean, I think making the character is going to be the same whether you're playing like normally or not. Ooh. Oh yeah, this is the lore. Cool, cool, cool. Love that. Is the legend just a little short story that you write? And that's why you gain a legend when you write something or when you finish a session, because that session becomes a legend for that character, you know? That's neat. Guidance. Your character is a kedamono with eternal life. They are the most powerful creature in the story. Okay, we already know all this. Okay, this is something I've noticed about Japanese books, these Japanese TRPG books. They're very repetitive. Like, this whole thing about them eating souls and being 10 to 30 feet in height has been said like 4 times in this book. And we get it, man. We know. We have a whole... Oh my gosh. Considering the following 2 archetypal personalities that your kedamono could have. A kedamono, as feared as any monster might be, yet in their solitude they hide a gentleness in their hearts. Or a friendly kedamono who is warm and welcoming to those weaker than itself, but its true nature is cruel and alien to humans. It tricks these weaklings in order to sate its own selfish desires. Oh, that's fun. Each species has its own characteristic opera and 5 feats. Keep in mind, however, these descriptions only exist as a reference to help you understand the kedamono. When it comes to make yours, there will undoubtedly be exceptions that we cannot account for here. Should you find yourself thinking, this bit of lore doesn't apply to my kedamono, then by all means, change it or even throw it out. I do love that. But what if, Hime, what if you ate souls more? They just really want you to know their sole purpose is to consume souls. Yeah. Also, they're 10 to 30 feet tall and they have a lure. Like, we get it. It keeps coming up over and over again. I noticed that when Kappa and I were reading the, like, Eldritch Escape Tokyo, too. It's like, okay, didn't they say this already? Yeah. Subspecies. Okay. I like this style of character creation where you're making a lore block instead of a stat block. Yeah, because stats are not important because your character is all powerful. So literally the book has said you cannot fail. There's just like things come up, but you technically cannot fail at a roll. It's just like there's no... It's as if there was an oracle that has no no. It's just a matter of yes, yes and, or yes but. There's no no's because your character is basically all powerful. Which is really interesting for a concept. You cannot fail. OMG, it's just like D&D. I like that there's complications, but the point is that, like, you really can't fail because you're this giant. Did you know that kedamono are usually 10 to 30 feet? Here's the overview of all the species. Can they all fit on one page on the screen at once? It kind of can. Almost. Don't forget their lure. Yeah. I like how encouraging it is to take your little guy and make fanfic. Too big to fail because you're a giant monster. Yeah. Mimir Strix speaks to me. Aww. What? I thought you were a wolf. I thought the Shade Wolf would speak to you. Although I guess just because you're a wolf VTuber doesn't mean that you want to play as a wolf all the time, I suppose. Just in the same way that even though I'm a bird, I don't always want to play as a bird character, you know. Okay. So the arachne are the spiders. The wolf can be a giant horned owl if they try. It's true. I almost want to grab this to make a little guy. You should. Just the lore building, the world building alone is so cool already. Spiders, yeah. Dread hair. So enormous rabbits. They're psychic rabbits. Goliath are just the large primates. They strike out sounds to control the beat of all things. Sphinx are dire cats. Dragons are basically dinosaurs. Mandrosa, monstrous roses. Mandrosa, I guess. Their lures, unaware of what they are, find humans who will love them enough to be nourishment. Mimir Strix are the giant horned owls. Merkaba, weapons from the age of myth made into kedamono, akin to pilotable statues. Oh, they're kind of like Dolahans, kind of. Shade Wolf, and then Rahab. Aquatic creatures like sharks or whales. Oh my god. I love the plants. I love the idea of just being a freaking shark. You're just a shark in the shadow sea, and you just have a little lure, a little Ariel sitting on the rock, and then the Rahab comes out and goes chomp. Rahab with a lure that's a glowing ghostly person, and the actual Kedamono is a spoopy anglerfish. Wait, I love that. I love birds, and also he has Mimir in his name. It's true. Ah, Mimir. That's so fun. I love all of these, but I do like that they have a blank sheet if you just want to make up your own, like, forget it. Operas. Kedamono use their operas to bring about miracles. They can use these miracles to irrevocably alter the fates of others. We already know this! You told me this already. An opera comprises its name, description, use condition, and 1 or 2 opera portents. When making a Kedamono, you gain 1 opera. Okay, so we'll show you an example. Hi, Ty. Okay. So for example, if we're looking at the Arachne here. Oh, I like how it has like a table for the lure forms if you so choose. You can even roll, so it's already lends itself to solo because you can just roll for which one. So is it the lure? Star of Light, hello. Once great person, a princess of unrivaled beauty. That's fun. An adventurer who came looking. Oh no. And now its lure is just that adventurer forever. Oh god. Oh god. Parent of an NPC, a child who went missing. This is so... Oh, you could write such good stories with this. I love it. Oh man. I keep thinking of yesterday and the kid that got stuck inside of the item, and the mother's like, please help me find my child. He is afraid of bees. Lady, your child ain't coming back. That's so sad. Hi, Bryn. Yeah, this is fun. And then the dread hair. Oh no! Yeesh. Goliath. These are so random. I kind of love it. Yeah, that one from last night stuck with me, same. Sorry I have to dip and dash. Yeah, thanks for checking in. See you later. I have good news. He's not afraid of bees anymore. I have bad news. He's not anymore. Yeah. Sphinx. Look at that. A lady who gives treats to strays. That's messed up. They gave you cat treats and then you just like ate her and turned her into your little lure. That's messed up. I'm afraid of bees still. Bye. Oh god. A boy with flesh of obsidian. This sounds so cool. This is the dragon. A woman with jeweled eyes. A prince, his eyes like the sky. He's not afraid of anything anymore, right? Hi, Rina. The Mandrosa. A widow in mourning clothes. Oh, these are all people that like roses. Ah. Ah. Mimir Strix. I want to see what's written here. Oh no. Oh no. I like how Hoot Hoot is one of the names. You're literally gonna make this Mimir Strix. I am this great and all-powerful Kedamono, and their freaking name is Hoot Hoot. I can't. Head tilt? It's cute. Merkaba. Oh yeah, that's the Dolahan looking thing. Robata is a name. That's so lazy. That's funny. The Shade Wolf. A feral child raised in the wild. Well, now they have become one with the wild. A Rahab. Oh yeah, see, this makes sense. A rosy-cheeked, beautiful woman. A muscular pirate or marine. Child of a mermaid. Oh yeah. These are cool. Yeah, these are so neat. Okay, alright. That gives me some idea, I guess. So, the opera, so for example, the one for dragons is Draconic Becoming. Those consumed by a dragon have their wishes come true. But in order for it to happen, you have to mark one of the portents. So you've consumed prey with a strong wish and made their soul a part of you. The use condition will stipulate that something in particular must have happened. Yeah, you did that. Your opera starts as available when you first move to be on stage. Tickets used box when you use it to make it unavailable. Yeah. Yeah, the situation described must have occurred at least once. The Kedamono must have 4 or less agonies. At least Hoot Hoot is 10 to 30 feet tall and has a lure. Did you know that Hoot Hoot must consume human souls? It is very important that the Kedamono consumes human souls. Did you know? Did you know they are compelled to consume human souls? This book is 262 pages long, but 10 of the pages are just the repeated stuff that we just said. Did you know that Hoot Hoot has 2 feet? No, it doesn't. That's a lie. Why are you lying? That Pokemon only has 1 foot. It's one of those, like, Mandela effects. Okay. Feats are supernatural powers that Kedamono wield when overcoming hardships. Though tremendously potent, they also twist fate around them. Okay. Authority indicates which matters your Kedamono holds mastery over. Consider it something like a specialization. You choose 1 authority. It's also possible to acquire additional authorities while on the stage. When you possess an authority that matches a domain of an ordeal you are engaged in, this gives you some advantage. Yeah, okay. Legends indicate grand achievements, exciting tales, or epithets that have been attributed to your Kedamono. Doesn't matter whether anyone in the current day is aware of these legends. The past itself has its own ways of supporting your Kedamono in forms they may not be able to see. Each legend must have its own name. While making your Kedamono, you gain 1 legend. Refer to the legend table below to help you decide on one. Oh, here's like a example of a feat portent. Breath of Ruin. Whether flame, toxin, or lightning, a dragon's breath can take an impossible number of lives in a single awful moment. So you can use it when that Kedamono was fated to do battle with the hero, and then after the destruction, new life began to grow. Interesting. God, this sounds so cool. It does, doesn't it? If I recall, I think they retract 1. The second is up against his butt. I don't believe you. Which, honestly, I think they should have just been like, oh yeah, he only has 1. Throw away the concept sketches, they'll never know. I know, right? I remember being so scandalized when, I think in the 3D game, the first 3D image they have of Hoot Hoot where you saw the back or something, and I was like, what? No. It has 1 leg. One of those debates, those, like, playground debates that go on forever. Legend effects. Gain both effects in the order presented. You can gain even more legends. Yeah, so whenever you do sessions, you get legends, obviously, that relate to that story. Or when you create things. Create things for your Kedamono, whether they be illustrations, short stories, manga, videos, music, reviews of sessions, etc. These things can be commissioned from others, created via tools, or even just be small additions to materials other authors have created with their permission, of course. Per work created, gain 1 more legend related to that work. I love that you can literally play this game by not playing this game. You just keep drawing pictures or whatever of your Kedamono, and then and I love that this is like, all of this is playing the game. It's like, this counts as you playing the game. There's no judgment. If you just use this book, this core rule book, to like make a story and keep writing about this Kedamono and you never actually roll any dice, like, who cares? I think that's such a cool concept. Like, it just, they're not judgy at all. They're just like, cool, we're giving you this play box, like the sandbox, do whatever the heck you want. And that's, I love that philosophy. Others may not be able to grasp the particulars of how you came about a certain legend. If you want to make it clear to them, it's best to keep URLs to your thoughts of a session, to whatever work was produced, or to a sales page. So they literally like sell it. We don't care. That is so cool. Maybe that's your solo RPG. Make your OC have fun. Writing prompt games are amazing, honestly. I know, right? I love that it's like, if you want to make it clear to them, keep URLs to your thoughts of the session or to a sales page. I love that they're just like, you want people to know your character's legend? Sell it to them. What the heck? That's so cool. Using legend. Okay, so here's an example of some of the legends. You can make some up, but here's some examples that you want to start with, you know. It's neat. Oh, I think I got to the end of my playlist. Even though I hit repeat, the repeat button lies to me and it never actually does it. But that's okay. I'm going to switch to a different Witchbolt album now. I think there was a new one. The Piece of Wild Things. Oh, here. This one might be nice. Okay. Okay. Yeah, the desire table. Oh, look at that! Oh, look at that flower one! Oh. It's happy to see you. He's smiling. Okay, so again, here's an example table that you can roll for. But you don't have to use it. Okay, so I like that desires are already there. There's already roll tables for, like, a lot of character creation. That flower is making me feel things. Do not the flower lady. What do you mean? You don't like the flower lady? She's so happy to see you. Look. Make a contract with me, she says. That flower surely wouldn't do anything wrong to you. Better than the false rosebush. True. Oh my god, that thing. The lure. Did you know that Kedamono possess a unique appendage in the shape of a human called their lure? Did you know? Did you know that Kedamono have a lure? Did you know that? Guys, did you know that all Kedamono have a lure? I have started getting into a solo RPG journal this month. I love it a lot since I play with my friend. Oh, that's so fun! Which game is it? Now I'm curious. If you control F lure, how many hits do you get? I didn't. I was sleeping through the last few pages. You know what? I pressed search. The word lure comes up 280 times. Hey, did you know that Kedamono have a lure? Did you know that? How am I supposed to know that Kedamono had a lure? I think the author had a favorite word. I mean, I'm also saying the word Kedamono so many times that I feel like every time I say it wrong. Like, it's starting to lose all meaning for me. Kedamono, 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 Kedamono Opera. Look, they know TTRPG players don't read. I don't know, I think we can read the word lure. Lure? I need at least 50 more instances. Did you know, Ghost Prince, did you know that Kedamono possess a unique appendage called a lure that looks like a human and they can move it at will and use it to talk to people? Please, Mold. Please, Mold. Gotta get the pitch accent out. Kedamono Opera. Breakfast at Midnight Owl. Oh, I was watching my friend play that. That's so much fun. I hope you're having a good time with it. That's a good one. This is going to be the next Please Mold. Did you know that Kedamono possess a unique appendage in the shape of a human called their lure? Please Mold. Oh my gosh. Anyways, there's a lure table. Ooh, look at that wonderful lure. I think that's the flower lady from the previous page. Their dwelling is where their nest is. There's even a table for where they live. That's so fun. Look at all these fun places. House with chicken legs. It has chicken legs. Where did the chicken legs come from, chat? Can I be a mold, Kedamono? I don't know. I guess if you could be a 10 to 30 foot mold. Since, as you may know, Kedamono are often 10 to 30 feet. Kedamono name. based on its body color, natural phenomena. Oh, that's cool. I like that there's a table for like themes of the name rather than just name. That's neat. Ooh, look at them all. Look at them all. The Arachne, the dread hair. Oh, it's a jackalope. Look, it's Lepus. You guys, Lepus is here. 10 to 30 feet. That's a lot of chicken legs. 10 to 30 feet has a lore name, a more perfect combo. The 10 to 30 feet mole that's in JKR's house. And then here's the Goliath. There's the Sphinx, and then the dragon, the Mandrosa, the Mimirstrix is here. This is the Merkaba. There's the Shade Wolf and the Rahab. The Rahab is literally just a shark, but it's literally just a shark. The monkey kind of hot. This like noir art nouveau. Yeah, it's by Nagabe. Nagabe, cool artist. Big shark. Yeah, lives in the sea. The big. Okay, the spider, the Arachne. Their staple diet tends to be birds. What do you... But why? But why? I don't want to get eaten by a spider, you guys. Oh, I love this. Here you go. The most particular delicacies to Arachne are land-dwelling mammals of greater size than the above. Of special interest among those are intelligent souls, which is to say, humans. The traps that Arachne weave to catch humans are indeed quite cruel. At the same time, Arachne are also known for the legends which state they grant immortality to those humans they favor. 'Tis crueler still to the fool who believes it. That's so metal. Didn't that literally happen in Cairnathalis? Yeah, something like that. There is an old story. Deep in the forest lies a castle made of crystal, and the girls who were enticed to seek it out can now never return. Other stories exist as well. Slippers, transparent like glass, made to be worn to a ball. A spinning wheel enchanted to place maidens under a curse of sleep. Magical clothes that bring misfortune with unseen magics, and on and on. Each of these objects is woven from an Arachne's thread, and at its merest whim, they will unravel and seize the human wearing them. Yet tales of magical items gifted from Arachne remain ever popular among the people, perhaps for their romanticism. Honestly, tempted to grab this just for OC making purposes, torn on getting a PDF or a physical. Yeah, my physical one is stuck behind a pre-order, so I don't have it yet, so I can't tell you how the physical copy is, even though it's already out. But the PDF already is quite nice. No, but I like that the Arachne is like a reason for those fairy tales, so each of those could be a legend. Like, okay, I made you these glass slippers, you put them on thinking you're gonna get to be with the prince, but then you just actually just get eaten by Arachne. That's so good. Oh man, oh man. An Arachne's lure is not something it is born with. Instead, when these dire spiders find just the right human among their prey, they thread it. Winding ultrafine threads throughout the prey's body and even their faces, the Arachne becomes able to stimulate the body's musculature and induce movement, such that the threaded person appears living. The flesh does not rot in this state. Moreover, by sending electrical pulses through the threads, the human will blink, nod its head, and even start speaking as the Arachne wills it. Yet the physical strength that can be obtained through this method is not very great, even by the standards of other lures. So even just to make their lure walk or run, an Arachne must bind their lure with thicker threads and directly manipulate them from above. This is the truth of the lures of Arachne. Using already existing humans is in fact quite an effective tactic, as it allows Arachne to capture other humans its lure was close to in life. Add to that the fact that they can also utilize multiple such lures at the same time, and one begins to see the ingenuity of Arachne. It is said that elder arachne can even wriggle their threads into the brains of living things and from there read information as well as rewrite it. This makes it quite simple to have their lures seem just as the human they were before. There can be no doubt that seeing the victims of this process is what created the tales of arachne giving everlasting life to humans. This in turn brings more humans seeking said immortality, further increasing the number of victims. Let it not be said, however, that this ruse implies that arachne cannot gift immortality. Were a lure so threaded be left with its own will, well, it would still exist as a body that could operate for ages past the typical human lifespan. Of course, all that would be is a corpse, driven by the information of the deceased left within the brain, lifeless for sure, for it would no longer possess its soul. Jesus. Oh, God. I'm not a horror streamer. I'm not a horror streamer, I said. Holy sheesh. That might be one of the creepiest things I've read in a TTRPG book. That's... Ooh. Ooh, I have the heebie-jeebies. Oh, that actually gave me chills. Oh, that's so... Ugh, I don't like it. Oh, I love it. I love it, but it's like, ooh, that's really dark. Oh my gosh, that's super cool, but like also terrifying. Like, that is, man, and it's on page 6-7. Ah. You know horror Hime has a good ring to it. No! Stop it! I'm not a horror streamer, I swear. It's like coyotes that sound like human children dark. Yeah, oh jeez. Oh god. Yeah, well they birth clone children, they lay eggs. Yep, okay. Yikes. I hate spiders. I'm so sorry. That is a terrible story for you if you hate spiders. Oh, I'm gonna read this. You know I'm gonna read this. Okay, I'm gonna read. O great weaver, why do you desecrate the body of our high priestess so? The people yet cower at the sight of her. She was your most pious, yet you make a mockery of her, using her as but a tool to lure your prey to you. This cannot be borne any longer. As the girl spoke, the high priestess turned her head to regard her. The priestess's beauty, once held as the greatest of its age, had not faded in the slightest. Indeed, she was brilliant, even after these 100 years. The train of her pure white dress rippled through the halls of the crystal castle, spreading out like the surface of a lake. Yet there was no soul within it to be found. Why? The girl had asked. Why? It was obvious. For love. The words spilled from the lure's lips, each ringing with the clarity of truth. The spider had tasted the sweet nectar of the priestess's pure soul, and as she slid her threads into each wrinkle of that dying brain, she saw all of the priestess's life, read each of her thoughts. For the first time in her life, the spider found herself desiring a human, yet it was far too late, for none other than the spider herself had consumed the woman's soul. At the very least, then, could she not keep the empty shell of her and treasure her as she might have done in life? There came a whispering, a sighing, a slipping, the slow sounds of threads being worked. The girl's breath caught in her throat as she looked further down the hall, for there she saw the great spider, producing its threads and continuing to weave together the train of its lure's dress, its movements far too gentle for the hideous creature, it seemed, far too loving. Never once had the spider ceased draping her soulless love in beauty. I want to use this game to create the Kedamono and then use another TTRPG for players to investigate them. Oh my god. Toxic Yuri. Problematic Yuri. It's a little one-sided. Wait, that's brilliant. That is brilliant. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna be down here cowering under my desk. Don't mind me. I love them. I will hold the love of spiders enough for everyone. You won't realize you're a horror streamer one of these days. Ow! buying this game, meow. So not only do spiders leave their prey alive to eat later, they also decorate their webs with things they think are pretty, including corpses. That is nice. That is, what a fun fact. Actually, not a bad way to build scary myths, right? You know those aliens that have human drones as mech from Men in Black? I just imagined a spider doing that from inside someone's head. Yeah, that's basically... Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah, so, yeah. Yeah, we saw this earlier. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, the Deathless Doll. You are in possession of a corpse. Yeah, so that's your opera portent. When you get your next person. That's cool. Okay, I'm gonna scroll through these. Okay, the Dread Hare. They're omnivorous. Whether as foes who herald only death for nights or as red-eyed menaces with a madness that drives them to take the heads of humans, dread hares are feared throughout human civilization as the most vicious of Kedamono. That's wild. Oh, goodness. Dread hare teeth are remarkable. They will branch through the skull and eventually end up penetrating to the outside like horns. Wherever their teeth may sprout from, however, they are extremely sturdy and many are the tails of prey being skewered on them. That said, these teeth will begin to place pressure on a dread hare's brain, which will then greatly affect their emotions and their cognition until they are driven mad. Typical examples of the madness that a dread hare may be gripped by are their incongruous viciousness as well as the virility that fascinates humans. So there are so many symptoms for this madness as there are dread hares, and as such it cannot be spoken of as a monolithic thing. Rinna. Let me go back up. I might actually have nightmares. Oh, I'm sorry. Remy Ratatouille was an arachne Kedamono all along. Oh my god. Y'all think it would be better or worse to be a soulless corpse puppet or a puppet with your soul still in your body, watching, unable to resist forever? Anyway, I'm gonna go prep for stream. Y'all have... You're like, I'm just gonna leave that kernel for y'all. Bye-bye! Have a good stream. See you later. Oh my gosh. Red Eye of Fortune. Okay, yeah, so they have divine power. They can control fortune itself. And when they view possible worlds, the dread hare's eyes will turn red. They can see different possibilities as shades of red. That's cool. Ages ago, a particular dread hare possessed of both wisdom and madness spoke the following to the philosophers of the age. The myriad possible worlds move away from one another at the speed of light, causing red shifts. Stay here in the land of the Crimson Queen. We must always be running. Not one of the philosophers understood the meaning to those words. I see, that's an Alice in Wonderland reference. Kind of love it. I know many a person into... I'm not going to say that out loud. Dread hare lures. As a dread hare forms its lure from its tail, lure grows unseen amid the soft fur of that tail and eventually becomes a human-like appendage we know. Once its body is complete, the lure will naturally detach from the main body and stand. So usually it's... At this point, it will outwardly appear as a human anywhere from 5 to 13 years of age. Upon detachment, a dread hare's lure is fully autonomous. It will eat, excrete, sleep, and reproduce as humans do, but it will age 3 times as slowly as one normally would. Majority have appearances make it easy to like or love them. Some even have rabbit ears and tails. Okay, so they control the lure psychically. Young dread hares will have lures but not awakened to their powers yet, so the lure will be driven by the Kedamono's instincts or madness. The lure itself has the same personality as the main body, but its mind will be relatively undeveloped, causing it to act similar to a young child. A lure left to its own devices will often become the spouse or adopted child of a human who comes across it in a forest. Once a dread hare's tail detaches from it, it will begin to grow another, forming a new lure after several decades. By that time, the previous lure will most likely have been lost in some accident while it was acting independently. It is quite rare for dread hares to possess more than one lure. That's interesting. Huh. Long, long ago, in a place far from here, there lived an honest huntsman. One wintry day, the huntsman went up the mountain, and there he happened upon a woman with beautiful silver hair, itself like snow. When he asked, she explained that she had no home to return to. Pity welled in the huntsman's heart. He brought the woman to his home and gave to her soup to warm herself with and a place to sleep. And so it was that after the snows came, melted away, and on again, that the two were wed as husband and wife. Forward then to the night of a blizzard. The woman, who had been stoking the fire at the stove, suddenly rose. The huntsman, who had been playing with their children, spoke to his wife's back. "Where could you be going on such a cold night as this? He is calling me." Giving only this in response, the woman paid no heed to her husband's cries for her to stop. She left into the blowing snow and was gone, never to return. Passed now even more years to when the children had all left home. The now aged huntsman now once again climbed the snowy mountain and saw again one with silver hair, his wife, looking again as she did when they first met. The huntsman ran to her and pulled her into his embrace, begging to know where she'd been all this time. That lure long since broke. The woman with the same face as his wife spoke as if commenting on the snows. I took my eyes off it for a moment, and it slipped off a cliff as it reached for some red berries. What a foolish way to go. A favorite of the huntsman those berries were. On the day they had met, and on the day they had parted, those berries had been in the soup they'd eaten together. Though the huntsman now wept openly, the woman only looked down upon him with eyes like ice. But then, child of man. When the huntsman lifted his head, he saw that the woman's eyes glowed crimson, just like those berries that he so favored. In a time that is not now, and at a place that is not here, there is a world in which the two of you lived happily ever after until your deaths. Mourn not, for there is nothing to mourn. In what time? At what place? Oof. This is so haunting. Yeah. This is really good. Jesus, I have chills and tears in my eyes. Yeah, I am so inspired by this right now. I am so glad that we picked this today. This is so good. Holy crap. I mean, the Arachne one was already really good. Ooh. That's so cool. Honestly, for all this book has repetition issues. To me, though, I don't know, that just seems to be a thing that Japanese TRPG books do, because every single one I've ever read has been like that. That's just a thing that they just keep doing. I don't know. I think it has something to do with what Kai said. Like, they would rather you definitely know the information. Like, it's very important, you know? But dang, this is so cool. It's really inspiring. It already seems pretty solo friendly with not too much stuff. Do you know that Kedamono have lures? Did you know that Kedamono are 10 to 30 feet? They have lures that appear like humans? Oh, the portent. One truth existed, then in an instant was substituted with another entirely. Yet the only one who knew this change took place was you. Hats off to the translator, like the localizers. Like, they did so good. This sounds so cool. They really made the language sound so haunting and cool. Okay, the Goliath. You will not find in this in the scriptures, of course, but the Lord of Light did not, in fact, create humans out of nothing. Rather, he created the first humans by bestowing wild monkeys with intelligence. It said that the Goliaths are those monkeys who could not become human. They had to repeat the lore thing 200 times to get you in the right headspace to drop kick your brain into feelings. Yeah, it's true. That's really cool. Hello. Hi, Lily. Language, art, music, these are things which speak directly to our hearts in an attempt to convey something, and all of them have their roots within the Goliath's knowing. My brain is melted. Another TTRPG purchase. Oh, I figured that's what you meant. Yeah. Their limbs. They can do precise tasks. They can draw. They can do art. Most Goliath art does not place much importance on photorealism, and at first glance may even appear crude or primitive, but you'll find that what the Goliath has attempted to capture is nothing so trivial as perspective, but rather the impression felt from life itself. The scenes depicted convey a sense of presence that is so powerful that it is as if the viewer were there in truth, like an illusion or a waking dream. Looking at Lion Wing to see if there's anything else I want to grab while burning my wallet. Well, if you want to play Eldritch Escape Tokyo, that was really fun too. That's also from Lion Wing. That's neat. Goliaths use their art even in the creation of their lures. They place some of their own hair onto a doll, then impart some of their false soul upon the doll by breathing on it. This wraps the doll in an illusion that grants them their human appearance. Most use dolls made from carved wood or stone, but this temporary life can also be granted to stuffed dolls or even statues from human settlements. In truth, just about anything that has a humanoid shape can be used without issue. Is it solo friendly? Yeah, I think so. We played it as a duet game. I think technically you could solo it. Read up on it. It's been a little bit since I played it. Yeah, they're translating, was it Where's Blade, I think? Okay, so sound. Oh, look at him. Those thighs. Yes, that's the lore. They just took a doll and, you know, neat. Tarzan looking hot AF. Lions. Oh, they didn't write a little short story for this one. That's lame. How come some of them have it and some don't? Okay, the Goliaths didn't get a cool little short story. The Sphinx. The kitty! Every cat lives to explore every riddle they may find in this life. Can you imagine how terrifying a cat that considered humans as prey would be? The claws, the fangs, the reflexes. Eek. Moreover, sphinxes are not simply ruthless, but also possessed of an abundance of playfulness and fickle hearts. Do not think your death will be quick. Whether with word or with claw, sphinxes alleviate the tedium of eternal life by playing with their food until the moment of its final breath. To put it another way, you are permitted to live, balanced upon thin ice, while this KEDAMONO has its fun. Some tales even speak of people forming friendships, so they might claim, with sphinxes during these periods. They can alter their bodies to be like liquid so they can flow through small gaps. That is fun. They have an affinity for sleep. They may pass decades or centuries in dreams. They can harden their bodies like stone statues. Sphinx utilize their malleable bodies for their lures. They can simply change an extremity into the shape of a person when they need it. Their tails are common enough, but where would the fun be if they didn't at times change a paw or even their face itself into a person? If they simply desire to speak, then why not form only their lure's mouth somewhere on their body? They have an affinity for sleep. Me, for real. Sleep is a scam. Sadly, I must to bed with these stories still jangling about in my dome. Need to get up for work tomorrow. Good night, every bird. Good night, manager. Best of luck tomorrow. You're gonna do great. Riddles of the Sphinx. Many riddles are philosophical in nature. What is love? Why was I born? Where did that mouse I just ate go? Most sphinxes are transformed from cats who are close to death. Surely you've heard the adage that a cat will disappear when it is close to death. They've merely found the answer to their riddle, and in so doing, shed their mortal forms. I see. See, they got one. Why did the monkeys not get one? Lame. Dazzling and resplendent, the stone tomb had been piled high with all manner of grave goods. Within the granite sarcophagus, a pharaoh, adorned with a mask of gold, took his eternal sleep. Then came a kind of water that oozed through the stone wall like blood. It pooled together into the form of a giant cat, growing larger still until it filled the entire chamber. Then the cat fell upon the sarcophagus as though curling around it. At last, the cat's face changed, forming into that of a young girl's. In the morning, I have 4 legs. At noon, I have 2. Upon evening, I have 3. Have you the answer yet to this question I asked some 1,000 years ago? Once asked, an apparition of the young pharaoh appeared at the side of the sarcophagus, hazy and dim. He opened his mouth. Born as a cat with 4 legs, you created with a lure with 2 legs, and then... The ghost of the pharaoh stared right into the eyes of that great cat. Combining past, present, and future, you become one with the universe. You're a sphinx. Was he correct, or was he incorrect? The sphinx said neither. Instead, her mouth simply bent into a amused grin. You could be a sphinx, you know. Despite her words, the pharaoh shook his head. I thank you. However, after devoting these 1,000 years to pondering, I've come to understand something. Rather than be but one great ruler, I wish to be the servant to one greater still. Farewell, my friend. So did the pharaoh turn and disappear through the eastern wall. Having become a fairy, the pharaoh would serve the true greatest lord within the template kingdom. Then there came a desolate cry from the sphinx. You would have been better off had you not thought quite that deep, my friend. But at the same time, it's thanks to you that now I've grown just a little closer to the riddles of the universe, and there... A word left unspoken, for the great cat had lost the boundary between where she began and where the universe ended. Her form bled into space, leaving only eternal silence lingering within the stone tomb of the pharaoh. The answer is man. The Sphinx has internalized misogyny. Oh no, Sphinx. Not the internalized misogyny. That's cool. The Sphinx. The dragon. Well, we already read one of the dragon's legends earlier. It's neat. Yeah. Oh, so they come from the fossils of many millions of years ago, before even the Lord of Light came to this world. An altogether different sort of creature filled the land. Those were the dinosaurs. So basically, the fossils get turned into dragons and reborn. I love this. Though the massive bones of dinosaurs make up the basis for a dragon's skeleton, the shape of that skeleton is not an exact replica of the creature it was in its life before. No, the extant dinosaur bones and the soul fragments that cling to those are too worn away for that. Instead, a dragon is reconstructed as a chimera blended together with the bones and souls of multiple creatures, some not even dinosaurs. The trunk of the Tyrannosaurus rex, from which the long neck of a plesiosaur extends, with the wings of a pteranodon sprouting from its back, an example of how irrational the bodies of dragons are. Seeing the pre-order was supposed to be in 2025, I fear ordering physical. I don't think the pre-order is there anymore, because when you go to the website now, it's just order. So it should be okay, but I'm not sure. I got the PDF right away. That's neat. When they sleep, dragons constantly reshape themselves into whatever they consider their ideal forms. Oh. They can regenerate from nearly any wound. That's wild. Yet if dragons haven't consumed enough prey, or they suffer some trauma extreme enough to overwrite their perception of themselves, they become trapped in a dysphoric nightmare, unable to restore their bodies. That's so sad. Oh. I like this interesting, weirdly scientific reasoning for dragons. Dang, buddy, me too. Just imagining a road that appears out of nowhere and it turns out a sphinx doing a beak stretch that fell asleep. Once dragons realized they could add their own souls by consuming humans, they began to take the physical remains of humans into themselves as well, so as to entice those with ever better souls. So they could, of course, incorporate human bones anywhere through their bodies. Most tend to do so at the ends of their tails. It's based on human bones. They try their vain, so they make their lures really pretty. As the dragons have it, at the very height of the dinosaurs' reign, the Lord of Light came to this world and appeared before them, and not one would listen to what he had to say. As their reward, the Lord then brought down a meteor from the heavens, and with it drove all dinosaurs to extinction. So they claim. The Lord of Light views those creatures he did not create as demons, and as such they were cast out from this world. Most dragons hate humans, seeing them as willing servants of the Lord, but some also see humans with pity, believing that their subservience to the Lord is compulsory, and these dragons reserve empathy for those who seek to distance themselves from the Lord. I see. It must be noted, though, that the memories of the dragons extend back beyond even their own births, and as those originate from their fragmented souls, they are dreadfully unreliable. From time to time, dragons will lay eggs asexually reproducing. What hatches from those eggs are small animals lacking intelligence but resembling their parents. These animals have gone on to increase their own numbers, and they're dragonets. Though humans will call them dragons, dragons do not accept these animals as one of their own. A true dragon is only to be found in the dreams of dragons. Yeah, so one of them is that a dream that grants wishes. Legends say that dragon's dream can grant one wish of prey it has consumed. Interesting. Oh, hi. Oh, hello. Ooh. Oh, wow. Hi. Hello. Beautiful. I, too, am weak for the white-haired pretty man. This one also doesn't have a story, but I guess that's because there was a story earlier on. I know. Hello, sir. I know. I think I have an OC that kind of looks like this. Yeah. Oh, wow. Hello, sir. Yeah, hello. Hi. Hi. Hello. You see how he's coming out of the dragon's tail, though? This is just a lure. Give him a shirt. He has a shirt. He's got 2 shirts. No, don't. Yeah. That's cool. Here's the Mandrosa. Look at the Mandrosa. Oh no, the dragons are bribing us with fictional men. Yeah, it's all too easy, I'm afraid. Briars. Their main body and their lures both possess completely separate and unique minds. That's interesting. A Mandrosa's lure possesses its own mind, therefore has no more clear understanding of what its main body intends than anyone else. That is why it is quite clear that Mandrosa favor preying only on humans who form deep, intimate relationship with their lures. A Mandrosa will lie in wait patiently until its prey is willing to trust it completely. Dang, that's wild. Don't stop at the shirt. Take off his shirt. Oh my god. The lure of a Mandrosa is but one of its flowers. More accurately, it is a human-shaped reproductive organ formed from the connection of pistil, stamen, and nectary. This doll-like figure with its beautiful countenance will normally lie sleeping, naked, and wrapped in the petals of the Kedamono's main body. Once it awakes, however, those petals will weave themselves into an elegant layered dress to clad the lure. Always can the lure move around as it desires, but always, too, is it connected to the main body through small tendrils. There are numerous old tales surrounding the lures of Mandrosa, their beauty enough to have them praised as fairies of the roses, but anyone who would succumb to the lure's charms and set foot into a Mandrosa's dwelling will become food for its trap leaves and never be seen again. The most terrible things about the Mandrosa is that they do no performance with their lures, and instead those lures seek companionship with humans from a place of pure sincerity. A Mandrosa's heart, their figurative heart, is divided between their main body and their lure. The difference between the two is not so apparent when comparing normal common activities. One could even consider the lure moving its limbs to be similar to how the Mandrosa moves its briar and roots. Where the lure truly differs from the main body, of course, is that it has no instinct to eat humans and instead possesses an innate fondness for humans. A lure will genuinely love humans, genuinely seek to connect with them. And then, as a conclusion, the Mandrosa's trap leaves will betray the lure, capturing and consuming its friend or lover. Upon seeing this horror right before their eyes, the lure's anguished cries will ring out loudly. Any who hears such a sound will know that another victim has been claimed. But it is because the lure has no falsehoods whatsoever with its love that people are unable to resist the call of Mandrosa. That is sad. At this point, the lure will come to realize their true natures, but how they will react to it depends entirely on the individual. Some of these lures will distance themselves from humans so as never to repeat the tragedy. Others will attempt to be practical as they realize how this predation of humans contributes to their own continued existence. When human souls are in short supply, it is always a lure that withers away first. What can be said for certain is that regardless of what path the Mandrosa's lure takes, they will be doomed to suffering, as they cannot help but be fond of humans. Before the mental distress of their lures can interrupt their hunt, Mandrosas will often turn to the inner run in the dark forest and draw its waters into their roots. Through the use of the clear waters in the Ouroboros, the lure will, bit by bit, forget its tragedies. So renewed, the lure can therefore go and experience its first love all over again. The nectar, the doomed Yaoi monster. I know, right? Holy crap. And they have this pure nectar that will impart fortune, heal injuries by cutting open the lure, which generally kills the lure as well. Man. In order to obtain the nectar that heals, one must never cause the lure to doubt their love for it until that very final moment. A Mandrosa's lure has another role to play beyond enticing prey into its den. They are created from the Mandrosa's reproductive organs, after all, and that too is their part. After consuming prey, a Mandrosa will produce a new flower, one different from those it makes to produce lures. Before it blooms, within this bud sleeps an infant made between the Mandrosa and its victim. Not many Mandrosa ever bother to raise the child themselves and instead entrust them a human. This child, as well as their descendants, will not have great differences between it and other humans, save for two. They will possess a gift that lets them know the heart of plants, and also, upon their deaths, roses will bloom from their corpse. Interesting. Is it just like a regular human, so it does have a soul, I guess? That's so sad, actually. Ooh. That's... man. Oh, here's the Mimir Strix. And they store information in the horns. Interesting. Hi, Taro. Their eyes can see. They're kind of clairvoyant. Knowledge gluttons. Yep. Demand books as rewards. I love that. Mimir Strix lures. Book collectors they may be. They also possess rather large claws. So... they make contracts with humans, wherein those humans will offer up their own bodies up to be lures. Contracted humans will take lodging within the Mimir Strix's nest and live there as normal, taking only blessed food, which comes from the Mimir Strix's own beak. After about a week of such a life, the contractor will enter a state of hypnosis, whereupon they will serve fully as its lure, moving as the Mimir Strix itself directs. Through the newer lure, then, the Mimir Strix will turn pages, manage its library, conduct research, and even experiments. Should it ever need to take flight, the lure can be tucked up into its feathers and carried safely. I see. All throughout this period of domination, domination, the lure will not age, and even terminal illnesses will be halted. Meanwhile, though the Mimir Strix has control over the lure's movements, it retains its awareness, and the two will acquire knowledge in tandem. Once the contract period agreed upon beforehand is over, the Mimir Strix will cease providing its lure with food, and so the hypnosis will wear off. So liberated, the lure will once again be at time's mercy and proceed to age as they did before coming a lure. Many such contracts last for hundreds of years, and as such, the lure will no longer have a place to return to. Fortunately, lures who are released from their contracts, known as Mimir heads, are often welcomed by any society as sages of great wisdom. I see. Interesting. Huh. Hey, did it hoot just now? Knock that off. The Mimir Strix at the clock tower sleeps during the day. Let's get looting. Sure, it's just, ain't exactly comfy tossing Kedamono's place while it's sleeping right freaking there. We just gotta grab as many books as we can carry, man. Ain't read a book in my life, but I heard it said the books it's hoarding in here are worth fortunes. And the scholars in the capital are paying, get me? Hey, did it hoot just now? Shut it. Hey, now that's a pretty thing. Check it, a ruby feather ornament. I heard all about it when I was a kid. Supposedly a gift from a Borean princess. Bro, the heck you doing sticking your hand in its feathers? You're gonna wake it up. Hey, did it hoot just now? No, we're good, come on. And so the thieves took more and more treasure, ignoring the sleeping Mimir Strix. Alas, for they were unaware. A Mimir Strix's sight horns could transcend time itself, and thus it saw the whole thing. No matter how soft the steps of these burglars, the Mimir Strix of tomorrow saw it, as did the Mimir Strix of the day after tomorrow, and the Mimir Strix of the day after tomorrow. Hugin Mugen is a silly name, that's true. Mimir Hongshu. Oh my god. That's fun. That's cool. It's interesting. It's less tragic. They're just kind of like cool. You like knowledge? You come here, make contract. You turn pages in my book. I give you knowledge. Goodbye. 100 years go by. Goodbye. Okay. The Merkaba. Yeah, so these were like the robot statues. Yep. They were made to fight in the war against the Kedamono, and then they became Kedamono, which is kind of funny. Conceptual hearts are artificial organs modeled after Kedamono's heart. Uh-huh. A distinguished gentleman, yeah. Merkaba were fashioned with the capacity to develop their nervous system using surplus energy. Cool. Nervous system. Merkaba's pilot connects the neural reins extending from the Merkaba's conceptual heart to a harness. Yeah, it's like a mech. Nearly all Merkaba contain a pilot seat, though so long as the neural reins are connected, the pilot can control the Merkaba externally as the mech pilot. Interesting. So I guess this is the, like, sci-fi type one. Ah. And then the pilot gets devoured, I see. In a reversal of their history to that point, the pilot, dead with their soul so devoured, comes under the will of the Merkaba. This, of course, making them into its lure. As the Merkaba's essence is originally quite thin, many will copy the personality and memories of their consumed pilot into their conceptual hearts, becoming that person. And then they can exit its frame and use it around. I see. Huh. Yep. Whenever Kedamono Merkaba forms such a union with a human, they will invariably consume that human's soul. There's only one means for a Merkaba to avoid this tragedy, which would be to tear from it its own neural circuits, destroying its false soul, and so itself awakened as a Kedamono. Interesting. Yeah. So its pilot becomes its lure. That's so weird. Interesting. But also, the pilot isn't that much smaller than the actual Merkaba, so how does the pilot even fit in there? Interesting. Mobile statues of giants from the age of myth, yet originally a magic chariot operated by a human. With each and every kill it makes in war, a false soul builds, until at last a Kedamono it becomes. The pilot, its operator, their soul, the Merkaba consumes, making them into its lure. Ah, how the puppet strings change hands. Yet without a human pilot possessed of its own will, the Merkaba's true capabilities cannot come to fore. And so does the Merkaba search and search again for a new pilot, and again, and again, consume their soul. That's cool. Interesting. The Shade Wolf. Natural born hunters. Shade wolves in particular are feared as man-eaters. Makes sense. The Twilight Calling Beast. Indeed, this would claim that the Shade Wolves will end the world. Neat, neat, neat. Shade Wolf's lore can be found at the end of its long tail, an appendage created from its own flesh and fur. These humanoid lures typically bear some resemblance to the Shade Wolf itself. They may have larger than typical mouths or even sharp teeth akin to fangs. You've likely heard of the fable where the young girl points out these certain traits about what she believes to be her grandmother, Yeah, I see. Interesting. Interesting. I kind of want to do something where there's a lure that got cut from its Kedamono and it's on a quest to find it. Depending on the Kedamono, it would just die. Because there's not very many of them that have a will of their own. You would pretty much have to have a rose one or a rabbit one. Eating the moon. They bathe in the moon and gain stupendous powers. Yeah, very werewolfy. I see. The princess beckoned for the wolf alone. Oh, brave warrior, come and stay here for a moment. Your hair has become quite shaggy, has it not? Allow me to repay your works upon the battlefield. In a cold sweat, the wolf wondered whether she'd find out. Snip, snip, snip. Your left sidelock matches not your right sidelock, sir. Clip, clip, clip. My apologies, my hand slipped. I've struck some of your whiskers. Chop, chop, chop. Another scar upon your cheek, sir. 'Tis but a medal to a man. 2 or 3 more await at your ceremony. Poor, pitiful wolf it was, trembling in fright, with fangs a-clatter, rattle, rattle, rattle. Clatter, clatter, clatter. At last did the princess by chance to glance, and so murmured these words. Oh my, but what a big mouth you have. Oh, big yikes. She was eaten. I see it's connected to the tail. Don't cut his hair, you will know. You will know. Yeah. Yeah, you can devour the moonlight, change time itself. With the flow of your time different from others, you were left all alone. The Rahab at the Shadow Sea. Often they have the form of marine life, such as a shark or orca whale, but some unique individuals stand out as crocodiles or sea serpents. It would be wise to cease thinking in terms of fish, mammal, or insect. Kedamono are simply kedamono. Once a Rahab spots its prey, it will rise up out of its waters and drag them down to the bottom of the Shadow Sea. No warning will be forthcoming, an instantaneous tragedy. The Shadow Sea is created wherever there are objects to block light. Conversely, creatures of the Shadow Sea cannot go to places without such obstacles. Herein is why Rahabs keep their lures within this world. By moving their lure around, so too can they move its shadow around, and there it waits, within its lure's shadow, for new prey to draw close. The lures of Rahabs themselves are said to be those poor souls who have been dragged into the Shadow Sea. We are uncertain what fate befalls them there, only that in the now they are puppets the Rahab's will. Lures will appear as they did in life, at least externally, pierce their skin, however, and rather than blood, what will seep forth will be shadow. Perhaps it is the case that, as in taxidermy, a lure is made of a core of some Shadow Sea substance with a skin stretched over it. Yeah. Yeah. Rahabs of different sort of being. Rahab all possess the ability to temporarily mutate their own bodies. Ugh. Even should you manage to somehow repel a Rahab, the next time you meet, it will very likely have some great difference in its appearance. Perhaps its fangs will now be made of orichalcum, or perhaps it will have tentacles sprouting from its body. Perhaps even it will be flying through the air, riding a tornado. Oh no, they did not. They didn't. No. They did not sneak this Sharknado reference in this book. God. Whatever capacity a Rahab may lack, it will compensate for in the end. There is simply no escaping one Sharknado. Yeah, they said it might be riding a tornado. Oh my god, that's so silly. To be quite sure, it is extremely rare that the Rahab's prey survives it, but it is said that one who manages it will find true love. Some say this is because Rahabs are devils who test the love between people, and some others claim it is because the woe speakers forbid Rahabs from meddling with those who have found true love already. A person so blessed by Rahab is fated to live their lives in happiness with their love, no matter how despairing their current circumstances may be. Even should they be separated from their destiny via death, mind you, some unknown magics will bring them back to life, where they will learn that, in fact, their love did not die, or may even be that they will be reincarnated, meet again in another life. Someday, anyway, but it will for certain come. As the lovers exchanged kisses, the Rahab's lure gave up, its form disappearing into the night. A Rahab you see. Oh, hi, Zachary.
3 Frogos.
Thank you for the raid. Welcome, welcome. Hope you had a great stream. I see you were doing art. Hope you had a good time. If you have to raid and run, I totally understand. It is starting to get late. I see Amaya's here as well, and Cheeky. Hi, hi. For those that don't know me, I'm Hime. I am the non-binary solo TTRPG parrot. I am currently on day 7 of my Donothon. Today we are in another stream that is taking a group game and going solo, except the world building in this goes too hard, so we've gotten horribly distracted from our task. But anyway, we are looking at Kedamono Opera. Did you know that Kedamonos are usually 10 to 30 feet and possess a lure that is shaped like a human? Did you know? Did you know? Did you know? Well, now you do. Anyway, a Rahab you see is a Kedamono who tests love. Those who escape its clutches are guaranteed a blessed life spent with their beloved. You need not worry. The long, long night will end, and morning will come. So it was that the prince took the lovely girl as his consort, and his kingdom was awash in joy. Their love shined like the glow of the sun itself. But then a year passed, and then 2 years passed. That glow, once like the sun's, slowly began to darken. Born in poverty, the lady consort drowned in the luxuries of the opulent royal court and gradually began to lose her good nature. The prince, meanwhile, became far too embroiled in politics and stopped looking at his lovely wife. Yet this love was one approved by a Rahab. These two had a blessed fate. Why worry about something destined? The busy prince no doubt had other, more pressing concerns on his mind. Such arrogance made the lady consort's heart grow by degrees more distant until, at last, it could not be seen at all. Then came the day where the prince, accompanied by his lady consort, attended a ball in a country across the sea. Upon the return ship home, the prince unexpectedly approached his lady wife and spoke to her. "It was a moonlit night just like this one when we were attacked by that Kedamono," he said. And when he did, the lady consort laughed. It was a sound like the waves of the ocean, a sound that echoed since the very beginning of this world, so far away, so distant. The very next moment, the prince was eaten by a giant shark, which then proceeded to leap into the shadow of the ship, yet the lady consort continued to laugh, the white powder on her face flaking off to reveal the sunburned skin underneath. Long ago had she, too, been consumed by the Rahab and made into its lure. Never have the arrogance to believe you've overcome a Rahab's test. Only the Rahab itself can say for sure. Love must always be sincerely be cultivated, for there is no ending to love. Sad. Nice. Yeah, 69 check-ins. Nice. Yep. Yep. It's a shark! The Rahab, the last one? Yeah. Okay, so Apocrypha. There's some expansion rules, so you can add extra feats and things. I'm just gonna scroll through these. What is this? Session rules. Yep. Yep, this is all about group play, which we're gonna read. Oh, be ready for tragedy. All Kedamono may seek a happy ending for themselves, but their players may not necessarily seek the same. Tragedies and Kedamono opera are not brought about as penalties for failure. Be not afraid. Players in this game have, to a significant degree, control over the fates of their own Kedamono. Yet in a dark fairy tale world such as this, there are times when a resolution is quite muddy. And indeed, even if your Kedamono gets their happy ending, another player may choose a tragic end, which may provoke sorrow from you or your Kedamono. No matter how you wish it, no session of Kedamono opera is guaranteed to end with a happily ever after. Similarly, even if you do wish for that tragic ending, it is important not to force your desire upon other players who may wish for happier things. Prelude is where you make the advance. Okay, so this is where we might get into actually coming back to some of the rules. Need at least 5-6-sided die. See it, okay. Who, the where, the when. Decide, yeah, okay. Decide who GMs. Just select the scenario. It's okay. You just, you know, I think that's part of playing solo is sometimes you know what may happen, but the Kedamono doesn't, right? Unveil the intro. Intro portents. Okay, so these are some things that we need to have, so put this into the thing. Okay. Okay. Gotta raid and run to my bed. Have a good stream. Okay, thank you. Have a good sleep. Okay. Introductions. Mark intro portents. Okay. Pack. Okay, a pack is like almost like a pre-made story for why this group is together if you were playing this as a group game. I'm just getting past those pages in the book. It's pretty neat. Progressing through discussion. It is already in here, kind of. Okay. Okay. I think this is not too bad. So just normally you would ask the GM, and here instead you would just do an oracle and to go through the plot. Hmm. It's within the book itself. Okay. I think that's pretty understandable. Cannot mark the same portent more than once. If you've cleared a previously marked portent, you can mark it again. Okay. I like this. It's the Kedamono. I'll just read it. Go back to the book for a second. It's the Kedamono who bears the portent, but it's the player who chooses which portent to mark and how to fulfill it. This means it's entirely possible to guide the story in a direction counter to how your Kedamono wants it to go in. Imposing tragedy and suffering on your own Kedamono is a sweet fruit we give players to enjoy. It's funny. Tasty suffering, exactly. Turning portents of death, okay. Text of intro. Okay, I feel like this is all a random portent table. We need them. Page 190. Yeah, so random portents. So we have ordeals. Okay. Difficulty. Yeah, I mean, they already have difficulty for one player even. So the only difference is that you're the DM and the one player. That's nice. That makes it very... Ooh. Table's already there for how it goes. Read about this already. Whoa, speakers. That is cool, you are both. Yeah, I mean, that's what solo is all about. You get to be the DM and the player at the same time. I mean, that's the adaptation we're making. Should have a roll table. Mm-hmm. Extends. Look at that pretty art. Okay. They said 1 or 2. Is the difficulty always like that? Oh,
London Station
London.
just resubbed. It's been 14
Thank you so much
months.
for the resub.
Hi, I hope you're doing well.
I am doing very well, thank you. I think we're getting close to the end here. I'm getting really sleepy too, so... Okay. Intro, what makes an ordeal. We need the difficulty tables. Okay. Uh-huh. Generally, the difficulty is just based on... is just one... Uh-huh, okay. I'll just put this out here. Okay, so you can overcome ordeals. Nice thing is they already have stuff in mind for one player, but that's where they're assuming it's like the GM and one player, but you could still use those same rules when you're playing alone. Because it makes sense to just go for one difficulty, like, that you're trying to reach. It's already difficult enough with just the one, because you know how my luck goes. You know how my luck goes with these dice rolls, man. There's twists. Total difficulty of 4 to 8 per player. Go back over your... Total difficulty. Difficulty level 2. It's tough. Which is more cruel, the dice or the story they want to tell? Yeah, I was in a D&D group, but that didn't work out, and I left that session this month. I see. I'm sorry it didn't work out. I hope you are able to find another group that does better for you, or just, you know, just learn to play solo like me. It's fun. Okay. I think that makes sense. Portents. Give a KEDAMONO in advance a portent like the mastermind got away from you, or the princess was kidnapped right in front of you. Now you're using the rules. The trick is giving the portent a bit ahead of when you want it to happen. Easiest way to do this is an intro portent, but that feels a bit premature. Then be sure to give them the portent before they take the action. Yeah. I think it's important when playing solo to make sure you have a mix of good portents and bad portents. Oh, I think my... Oh yeah, never mind. I think we've been repeating this one album for a bit. Okay. Okay. So I think I'll put something in here about how portents need to be like... Okay. And then there's a scenario down here that I don't want to read. There's a whole lot. Okay. Deal difficulty. Okay. Okay, so when you create an ordeal... Aim for a total difficulty of, yeah, I think 4 to 8 per player is still pretty good. Okay. This does require a little bit more planning. I like the difficulty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay, and then that gets to the end of the book. Okay, so I got to the end of the book. It just flipped through a bunch of the pages were just like their sample scenario. So basically, this is how it seems to work out. I kind of started getting into solo RPG journals since it was pretty fun to me. Yeah, I mean, that's what my channel is all about, so I'm glad you thought it was fun. So you have an intro where you set it up. I think this is where you can set up, like, use oracle tables or pre-built adventures to set the tone for your intro. This is where you want the setting, you want the story set up, just kind of general, like, this is what's happening. Then you choose do your character creation. Then you mark the intro portents that it might gain ahead of time, and then establish. Okay, so you want to establish requirements or things asked of the Kedamono, which is where the story would start. Like, what is the, like, what's it called? Inciting moment, I guess, the inciting action. Create NPCs. I'm glad to watch your stream today while drawing. The story for that game got my interest in it. Oh, good. Yeah, it's a great game. I think it's pinned in the tweet, but or not in the tweet. It's pinned, it's the message that's pinned has a link to Drive-Thru RPG that you can have a look at it for yourself too. Yeah, inciting incident is the word I was looking for. I'm not a reading teacher, I'm a math teacher. Okay, so then the gameplay loop is basically the plot. So as you go through the story, you use oracles to flesh out your details. I kind of like the way scenes are handled in other games, but just kind of play. Is there a twist or not? So you want to periodically check for twists and random portents. Because sometimes there are random things that can just throw a wrench in your plans, and you want to kind of account for those. And then as necessary, you have ordeals. So that could be a fight, it could be like a disagreement, an argument, just any like hurdle. So you do dice feats and a check, so they typically have a difficulty. So for playing solo, it would have 1 difficulty, 2 for the final ordeal, and then if you're doing an investigation, it's based on how much like evidence you have, basically. Ordeals also have a domain based on what's necessary to pass them. This is very much like regular games, so it's like, oh, I have to make a knowledge check or whatever. So, oh, this ordeal requires cunning, you know, whatever it is. Because if you are using something where it matches the domain, I believe if you win, you're able to like clear some things. It just makes it nice. You get to re-roll with more dice, I think. So yeah, based on how many you get that match, so if you get the number of triumphs matches the difficulty, you get the Path of Glory. That's like yes, or even yes and. But if the twists are equal to the difficulty, you take the Path of Agony. You take some agonies, which may prevent you from using your opera and stuff. And yeah, keep track. I mean, you keep track, but it's pretty easy to meet it. And then you must fulfill portents throughout doing this. There's portents that have to happen. So then you, as the weaver, the creator, the GM at the same time while you're playing, is like, how can I manipulate the situation so this happens? Okay. As a solo player, you want to treat these as goals that must be met story-wise. Again, you know what the portents are, your character does not, and that's okay. That's the fun part. Then, as you go, use opera and legend abilities, because that does go with, like, fulfilling the portents. And then you make a random table for when a woe speaker might appear. It should be a very low priority. The book, it does not go into a lot of detail what woe speakers even do. They just mostly help you stay in your lane, you know. And then you have, throughout this, you'll have like periodic interludes where maybe it's a quieter moment of downtime, but that's also where you check in. How many portents do I have left? Okay, if some of these are not fulfilled, what can I do to manipulate the story to fulfill them? And then once all the portents are fulfilled, the ending has basically been told. You create an ending, like what happened, and then that's the curtain call, right? So you reset all the kedamono so they return to where they were before this session, except you do get a legend, which you got for completing the session or what have you. That's basically the gameplay loop. The game already has a lot of very useful, like they do account for if you're a DM playing with a single player, so you can at least use that single player part for like the difficulties and things. Because if you're DMing, then really the one player is kind of playing solo in a sense too. This game would go so hard if it had a tarot deck to go that, I know, right? They'd have to pay Nagabe a bunch of money probably. Yeah, I like also the fact that you can gain legend from playing sessions, but also from writing stories. If you're really like inspired by your kedamono, draw art, write short stories, you know, what is happening in between sessions, you know, or is your session picking up daily, like one after the other? I think that's the beauty of it, is that throughout and between sessions, like the game said, you can completely change what's going on. You can completely change the time period that you're in, because time is a strange thing, and there's monsters in here, not monsters, kedamono in here that already affect what happens. They can affect time, so good thing to keep an eye on in case it gets turned into something that's not good for you. But that's basically, the game is already fairly solo friendly. There's just a couple things you have to keep in mind when you're playing alone, but that's basically what I got. There's already a lot of random tables in here as far as for the portents and the names of the characters and everything, so you could run with those if you're feeling particularly indecisive. But yeah, so that was Kedamono Opera. I'd really like to play it at some point solo, make a campaign. God, just add it to my list. I have so many. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it from me today. I know it's a bit short, but it's the end of school. I haven't been sleeping very well, and I'm trying to rest my voice because I gotta sing a lot tomorrow, so. I read through a lot more of the book than I was planning to, but I got so sucked into the lore and the world building. It was so cool. I love Nagabe's art so much, and man, that Arachne story still really got me. I just keep thinking about it. The Arachne story was so good. That's a little sad that not all of the species of kedamono got stories, but I understand. It would have been really great to see more examples for like the monkey one though, because I still don't have a very strong impression of what that kedamono is like. But yeah, it's a really good story, and it makes a good base, because I feel like all of these stories are very setting and time agnostic. I could see that happening at any time period. So being able to create a monster kedamono that exists in the modern day, or do you want to go back and really play in that medieval time? And I think it's really cool that you choose, and the game has no judgment about it, you know? But yeah, that's gonna be it from me today. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me. Mainly tomorrow, I'm gonna have my first karaoke stream as part of this rotation, and pop punk won the poll, so I'll be singing a lot of pop punk songs. I'm gonna try my best to like rest my voice tomorrow. I don't think I'll be talking very much tomorrow, so, and I'll make sure to drink a lot of hot tea, rest my voice, because some of those songs you gotta belt it out, so I'm gonna do my best to sing well tomorrow. I'm excited to share songs and memories of my middle school and high school time with y'all, because that's the time that I particularly loved pop punk music. There is, like, I had a revival of interest in it a few years back, and then I was listening to a whole bunch of Yellow Card for a while because I was like, oh my god, my childhood. But yeah, it'll be a lot of fun to sing those songs for everyone. I already know Welcome to the Black Parade is happening. Man, Kappa's like, you gotta, or was it Kappa? Somebody was like, you gotta sing Welcome to the Black Parade. You know what's happening. I'll do my best. So yeah, I gotta rest my voice. I know allergies have been doing a number on me, so I've been trying to take my like Flonase and all that, so hopefully it all clears up enough for tomorrow. Because I mean, I can sing. I think my voice sounds pretty normal today, but I think it definitely dries out faster, so I have to be more careful. Okay, that's going to be my normal stream time tomorrow. That's at 7 p.m. CST, so just the normal time that I stream. About half an hour earlier than today, and so I hope I catch y'all there. Good night, everyone. On the Twitch side, I will be raiding into someone. Won't be able to see that on YouTube, unfortunately, but thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me. Let's see, where shall we go? Let's see. We could watch Kappa playing Xenosaga, or there is. Oh no, there's a quest. No, no, stream is ending. We're ignoring that. It would be really funny if y'all fulfill that and force me to continue, but we're not gonna do that. It's okay. Well, you know what? Let's see. This is tough to pick. It's like people I know. Several of them all streaming at once. Choices, decisions. Oh, good that you checked in just now. Yeah, I think we're gonna raid into Lunry. Lunry's playing Final Fantasy X. That's one of my faves. I do love that. I don't know what the heck is going on in the scene she's doing. Oh, it looks bad. Alright. She's only been streaming for an hour, so there's no way she's ending. So we're gonna go ahead and raid into Lunry. I think something bad is about to happen. Big plot moment. Looks like a cutscene. I'm sure it's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm sure it's fine. Oh, thank you for there is the raid message, so you can copy and paste that. Feel free to replace the emojis, the emotes with whatever you would like. But yeah, thank you again for being here tonight. I hope I catch you tomorrow at the karaoke, but if not, then I will see you when I see you. Thank you so much, and have a good night.